So yeah, we're gonna be looking at Neurocracy. If you've been in my Discord, if you've been in the Neurocracy Discord, you might have realized I am quite excited about this game. Just a smidge, just a little bit. It's really cool, and I'm very glad to be looking at it today. Very excited, slightly nervous because I had to refresh my memory a little bit because I don't stare at it every day, just every other day. So, yeah, we've got the little good start. We've got the wonderful playthrough line. See, I knew I wouldn't be able to pronounce your name. Who are creating Neurocracy. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for suggesting I do this. You guys do amazing stuff. I bow to your majesty. Yes, we are going to be discussing a few things, one of which being Lasgard. I hate his guts. You will find out why I hate his guts. That is to be revealed. Just a few things before we go into it. Full disclosure, Playthrough Line asked me to stream this today, which is great because I love this game, but just to get that out there for full disclosure reasons. Also, everything you're going to see is a work in progress at the minute. It's all subject to change. It's early access. They've been developing it for a while. We've got 4 episodes now. The 4th one just came out. Things will change. Probably. It's only going to get better, which is amazing because it's already amazing. But just to let you know, there's also going to be more audio-visual material, they told me, in the finished version. So if you're not weird, or not like me, and don't mind sifting through Wikipedia articles for 4 hours and writing a bunch of notes, there'll be some audiovisual stuff to make it a bit, I guess, easy to digest, I suppose. I could have gone with an easy name. It's okay. It's me. It's my face. I can't pronounce words. Don't worry about it. Playthrough Line are also going to be launching a Kickstarter for this game. When did they say? At the end of September. So if you like what you see here, feel free to follow them on everything to get involved. If you want to check out the Discord, I did this. Should work. Ta-da! So you can join their Discord, which they'll give you access to the earlier few versions, and also to get more details about it, interact with devs, interact with me and other people who like to talk about it, and just get updated, because it's going to be amazing. I need money. I'm going to throw my money at it, so you better do as well. A murder on my Owl Express. Hey, Palex. Yes, there is a murder. Murder has happened. In the year 2049. It's going to be good. So I guess I should just shut up and show you it, shouldn't I? So let me just get the page in full screen. And then, whoa, I'm down here now. I shouldn't be obstructing too much, but just let me know if I am. So, if you're not aware, Neurocracy is set in the year 2049. It's all based on Omnipedia, which is this website. It's in browser. It's basically the Wikipedia of the future. You'll find out what happened to Wikipedia in a bit. Spoiler alert, capitalism happened to Wikipedia. And yes, so you go through each day. There's going to be 10 episodes. Ooh. If I go up here, you see it's in full screen. It's going to be over 10 days. You see the revisions over here. So each day, there's going to be new things happening. At the minute, there's 4. And it progresses the story, because it's happening over 10 days. And we find out about things like this massive jerk face. Lasgard, I hate you with every fiber of my being. I'm sorry to whoever that is in real life. But yeah, and then, R.I.P. Pepperoni Palex, yeah. But yeah, you find out all about the world of 2049. There's things happening, like this glacier has disappeared due to anthropogenic climate change. Yes, climate change is still a thing in the year 2049. We didn't fix that yet, which is a shame. And yeah, you find out stuff, things change. I'll just show you, I suppose. My plan for this stream is I'm going to be going through the first 3 episodes, not under too fine a tooth comb, to give you guys, the chance to explore that yourself if you want, and I've already read it. But it'll be a refresh for me as well. And then we'll go through the 4th episode that's just come out today that I've not read too much. And yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to find out some stuff. You're going to see why I hate Lasgard and some other people. And I really welcome audience participation. I don't want to just, you know, say things at you and you go, oh yeah, that's correct. Like, if you have an idea of what's happening, if you have a theory, if you have a question, feel free to ask, because there's loads of words. One of the cool things is that if you hover over something, you get like a mini article about what it is, which helps give the context for what's happening. So, you know, I don't know where the Athabasca Glacier is. It's gone now, so I guess it doesn't matter, but if you want to know what it is, it's on this thing. So, it's really interesting. I would really recommend you join the Discord, so Playthroughline can give you access to the earlier stuff, because reading it yourself, it's just a gem. Like, the story building's really cool. Anyway, I'll shut up. I'll show you it. I could gush about it all day, so I'm just gonna get into it. So yeah, it looks like Wikipedia. I need to stop doing that. It looks like Wikipedia because it's based on Wikipedia. It's Omnipedia, founded by Tony Hyung. Probably pronouncing that wrong because I'm bad at names. So yeah, he's resurrected an old paradigm. So if we go over here, we've got the article about Omnipedia, which I can make bigger. So if you want to know what Omnipedia is, if you've seen this globe around, because I've been posting it everywhere, because I'm very excited. So this is Omnipedia. It was launched on September 28th, 2049, and we're only on the 28th of September, 2049. So it's the same day. It's the first day. It's launched. That's right. That is how dates work. Yes. Oh, this is going to be a long stream, isn't it? So Omnipedia is an English language online encyclopedia founded by internet entrepreneur Tony Hyung. I think that's his name. You're too kind. Well, you guys do good stuff, so I'm going to gush about it because that's what I do. So we can see here, he was born in 2023. He's a Chinese internet entrepreneur, model, and editor-in-chief of the online encyclopedia Omnipedia. Born in Dongyang, Zhejiang province. He studied at the Beijing University of Technology. In 2049, he founded Omnipedia, as we know, as a successor to Wikipedia, which was discontinued in 2048. Wikipedia's been dead a whole year. Students everywhere were crying. So Tony was like, I'm going to make Omnipedia, and it's definitely not going to be biased in any way. Promise. That's me speculating, but... So, yeah. Where is the next bit? Yeah, so... One thing to note, its pilot program was made possible through an investment by Zhu Pao. And as you will see from this little text box, which hopefully you can read on stream as well, it's a conglomerate. We do like business conglomerates here at the Heck and Robin Variety channel. We love them to bits. Hooray! So yeah, you want to remember the name Zhu Pao because they are big. They are stupidly big and do stupidly a lot of things. Like it says, they've got they were founded as a system integration company, but now they do cloud computing and e-commerce services, artificial intelligence solutions, and neural colloids. More on neural colloids when we come across them. Remember those, because you'll want to know about those as well. Hooray. So it's apparently got 19,000 odd articles, which is pretty impressive. It's edited by human and AI contributors. Because this is 2049, tech is big. Technology is a big thing at the moment. Again, you'll see, but this is just the intro. So, yeah, it was announced on June 18th as part of a new round of investments by Zhu Pao Campus. Oh, look, this technology conglomerate owns a campus. What else do they own? We'll find out. I'm so dubious about them, I'm sorry. It's probably coming across. Don't be too influenced by my opinions on people and things. It's unavoidable that I'm going to be biased against certain people. Let's go. But yeah. No worries, music. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you can come back in a bit. And I'll see you in the Discord. So yeah, so it's intended to be a reboot instead of a sequel to Wikipedia. I think it says somewhere what happened to Wikipedia as well. I think it's this article. I can't remember, but we'll see. So Omnipedia's mission statement is described as offering an easily accessible primary source of balanced, responsible and accurate information about anything and everything. And it's got none of the things from Wikipedia, because there were copyright issues that apparently led to Wikipedia stopping. So they've had to basically rewrite Wikipedia, which seems like a pretty hard thing to do. But Wikipedia was basically sued out of existence, because people decide to do that, apparently. Yeah, so it just tells you how, again, I'm not going to go too deep into it. You can read it for yourself. I suggest you do. But basically, there's AI involved who write the articles, and then people vet the articles. And in theory, it should be completely unbiased. Whether that actually happens is open to interpretation. Yeah, so not everybody's happy about Omnipedia. The Guardian, that beautiful English daily newspaper that I don't actually read, but it's here, called it out as a deliberate effort to destroy one of the greatest collaborative human achievements, with spurious copyright claims, only to replace it with a tightly curated mouthpiece for corporations and sponsors. So they are also dubious about it. Hey, Triple, how's it going? Are you ready to dive into Neurocracy, Triple? You better be. I hope that's why you're here. Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Solve Murder Day. That's the that's the theme for today. Yes, murder. But yeah, so Omnipedia has a donation-driven funding model, which again, kind of already from the beginning, you're kind of dubious about whether Omnipedia is actually going to be non-biased. You just had your coffee. Oh, well, you're ready for murder then. All you need is coffee. I have Coke to get me through this. Talking way too much. But yeah, so Omnipedia, we're already shown how it might be dubious. Again, that's open to interpretation. Because it's implied that Omnipedia and the people behind it were partly to do with why Wikipedia went down. And we've also got, it's donation driven. So people with money could be like, oh, I'll give you all this money to run your website. If you just, write a cheeky little article about how good I am. So that's always a problem. I think it says people have already done that. Yeah, so Mondial News, which I might be pronouncing wrong, published an article alleging that several individuals and institutions, such as Duan Yongping, another name to remember, Google, and Harvard University have donated large sums to Omnipedia, often without disclosing them. Why won't you disclose your donations, Google? What are you doing? Duan Yongping is interesting. He comes up a few times. He's basically like a really rich guy, basically. Like it says, he's a philanthropist. He's done a bunch of stuff. You get little sneak peeks at what everything is here. Even things that you recognize, like, I'll try putting them out when I see them. There's articles on things that you know about, but if you hover over it, it shows it in the future. So, like, how countries work is a little bit different, some of them. Basically, you've got to hover over everything. And when you read it, it's just like, each little snippet of information just puts you more into the world of 2049, which blew my mind the first time I saw it. And that was just like the first 2 episodes. I was like, holy cow. There's some stuff happening in 2049. Capitalism, what have you done now? That's basically the theme. But yeah, so that's Omnipedia. That's the website we're using to investigate 2049. I don't think Tony has his own article at the beginning. No, he doesn't. But this is him. This is the beautiful person who's in. Well, it's probably a stock image, but this is the person who made Omnipedia, which we are surfing today. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Oh, good. I'm glad you got your car stuff fixed, Triple. I have no idea about cars, but as long as you're okay. So yeah, so every day you'll get the featured article and the news. So in today's news, the Athabasca Glacier, like we said, has fully disappeared due to anthropogenic climate change. And that's obviously the catastrophic impact on biophysical environments and ecosystems, biodiversity, and natural resources caused directly or indirectly by human activity, including global heating, environmental degradation, loss of human life, mass extinction, and ecological collapse. Yay! All the happy stuff is happening in 2049. We were also told that a G6 outage in parts of Indonesia has caused widespread disruptions, with local authorities suspecting a cyber attack. Indeed a stock image, but I'll definitely make a Tony a model because it fits too well. I mean, it's a good stock image. But yeah, so the G6. What's the G6? I don't know. Well, if you want to know. It's the Global Secure Information Exchange System, known as, pronouncing incorrectly probably, Mingyun in China. It's a worldwide biosecurity network owned by Shu Pao. Say it with me. They own everything. And yeah, the United Nations are involved. It's basically a big, like it says, worldwide network to, it says biosecurity, I don't know why I'm trying to explain it. There are some things that you might not know what they are because they're futuristic or, you know, not familiar. There's like some articles that are full of scientific jargon about like some stuff we'll come to. So if you don't understand anything, feel free to ask. Or just go look at it yourself, because you can hover over these beautiful things. But yeah, they're all about public health and security, because there's some weird security issues in 2049. But again, we'll come to it soon. Yeah, we've also got People's Republic of China and Google announced their intention to create a special economic zone in Toronto, leading to protests and demonstrations amidst concerns that Toronto's smart city will be integrated into G6. I apologize for none of the science. It's okay, you'll just see me struggle to read some of it. I refuse to read all of it. People can read that for themselves. But it's really cool. It feels like a scientific article, though. Again, I'll show you in a minute. But it feels like I'm reading a science. I'm doing a science. I don't understand it, but it feels like I'm doing a science. So that's nice. Yeah, so there's these things called special economic zones. I wasn't aware of them. I googled it on actual Google. But they're a thing. So it's where the business and trade laws are different to the rest of the country. And it also says, the term has become synonymous with special economic zones administered by China in the rest of the world. Because China's a really big deal. I don't know much about economics, but like, nowadays China's a pretty big deal. But in 2049, China is a big deal. Big deal. China's huge. They are a lot big. Big. Again, you can read it for yourself. But I'm trying to think, were there any other articles on this episode? I don't think there is. I think that's all the articles for the first episode. I can't click on these things, can I? Hold on, let me just double check. I don't want to miss anything. Well, I mean, I did say it wasn't going to be like the deepest deep dive right now, but... I think that's it. Yes, like it says, the hyperlinks are limited to hover-only previews, using a bunch of fancy architecture and AI stuff. Click random article. Oh yeah, there is that. That would help, wouldn't it? That would tell me if there was something, another article on the page. That's Somnopedia. That's it. Okay, that's fine. That's alright. So that's episode 1. That's Somnopedia. Now you know what it is. That's what we're on. Definitely not dubious at all. And then we're going to go into the next episode. Let me just take a big swig of drink, because this is going to be a long one. For reference, I spent about 4 hours on this the first time. And wrote way too many words in the Discord. Feel free to read it in the Discord. I was very proud of it. But then the next episode came out, and my theories were crushed. So it's fine. Okay, so the next day, it looks pretty similar. Today's featured article is on the lovely thing I'm about to try say, which is PC transmissible amyloidotic encephalopathy. We're gonna call it PTAE from now on. Why are we learning about this mad fish disease? Well, we'll have to read the article to see what they're talking about. But the summary, you see, is it's a neurodegenerative disorder that affects the central nervous system of fish. It has to date been described only in found Atlantic bluefin tuna, developed by Lasgard Biotechnic. There's that word, Lasgard. Keep that in mind. He's a jerk. We'll see what happens. This Swedish biotechnology company was liquidated when the farming process for its tuna stock was publicly implicated as the likely cause of the PTAE epizootic words that led to the CMD pandemic. You might not have heard of the CMD pandemic. Let's give it a cheeky hover. What's this pandemic? It was a pandemic of Chiropramuran Disease caused by PC transmissible amyloidotic encephalopathy. I'm probably saying that wrong. He is such a jerk. He is such a jerk. Massive jerk. Don't like him. So yeah, it was spread through farmed tuna contaminated with PTE between 2034 and 2040. The number of confirmed infections stands at about 1.6 million, with a death toll of 39,000, as more cases continue to be appreciated because of CMD's long incubation period. All that means is, there was some dodgy fish with a disease, which led, well, at least they think it led to this pandemic that happened in people. Pandemics! Hooray! We love a good pandemic. So I'll click on the article in just a second. So in the news today, a seawall along the coastline of Massachusetts, I'm so bad at names, collapses, causing extensive flooding and affecting approximately 1.2 million people. Could this be because of climate change? Probably. Things are pretty messed up. We've also got the United Nations Security Council vote to officially declare South Korea a neurocarceral state is postponed for the third time since May 2049. There's another word. What does neurocarceral mean? Well, it's a little bit, It's a bit, Not gonna lie, it's pretty, So a neurocarceral state is a state that severely restricts the freedom of movement of its citizens through neurotechnological means, such as neurosurveillance or brainjacking. Brainjacking is a thing. Great thing. I'm sure you can't wait to learn what brainjacking is, because, oh, capitalism, why? The concept is based on the carceral state, which describes a scale of incarceration practices so great they determine the shape of the state that applies them. So basically, the Security Council of the United Nations is trying to figure out whether South Korea should have this, which sounds pretty bad. South Korea's definitely doesn't deserve that, I'm pretty sure, but, you know, I don't know. Hey, look, it's, yeah, brainjacking, my favourite activity. I think that there's a hoverable thing that will explain that in further detail in a bit. But yeah, so this is the second episode. We've gotten a little bit of information, and then on this day, it's like, yep, brainjacking exists. There's a pandemic. That was a thing. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Dystopian futures, hooray. Okay, so in the featured article, there's a lot of science, and I will not be reading all the science, because the science blows my mind. Any science people, I would recommend you read it for yourself. But yeah, so Lasgard Biotechnic was a biotech and aquaculture company headquartered in Sweden. It basically was a massive fish farming conglomerate. They were all over the place. And then it was liquidated because it was found out that the way they fed their tuna probably led to this disease. So they're delightful. In 2049, it says somewhere else, I'm pretty sure, but aquaculture is, because overfishing and global warming, trying to fish is pretty hard because they're all endangered, they're all having a bad time, some of them are extinct in the wild. So aquaculture companies sprung up, and as far as I'm aware, playthrough line, feel free to correct anything I say. It's basically massive fish farms, so people can still eat fish. And Lasgard did that, and they did some interesting stuff with that. Genetically modified stuff, great, we love that. Tasty. So, yeah, it created this epizootic, which I might pronounce it wrong as well. So that's an epidemic for animals, if you didn't know. Which you can find out by hovering over everything. Ah, you see, it's clever like that. Yeah, I think this says, yeah, so it was about Atlantic bluefin tuna. They were declared extinct in the wild in 2032 because, like I said, overfishing and climate change. And the aquaculture industry collapsed in 2040. Could it be because Lasgard Biotechnic screwed everybody over by making a pandemic? We'll find out. Yeah, this entire article is science. It's really interesting. I'll try skim it real quick. Spot on so far. I'm glad. Sweating over here, Jesus. So yeah, quick overview, I guess. It's classified as a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy. This is a bunch of diseases. Prion diseases, I'm pretty sure it's like degenerative stuff like Parkinson's it's related to. There's a specific example somewhere. I'm loving this, you dig a basic. Thank you. I'm trying so hard. I'm really glad I finally get to share it with people though. I thought about doing it and I didn't know if I should, but now I'm doing it, so it's fine. But yeah, as far as I understand, basically it messes with the proteins in your brain. And you have a bad time. It says it somewhere. It relates it to another disease somewhere. Can't remember where it is. Anyway, we'll get to that when we find it. I'd love some Lasgard impressions later. I can't do a Swedish impression, but I can do an impression of a massive jerk face. So I'm quite happy to do that in a bit. But yeah, this is just about the classification of the disease. There are other theories, not just like that it's basically the same messes with this protein. Like mercury poisoning, advanced scombroid, which is a foodborne illness, and a variant of PAM, primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Every stream I joke I can't say names, and now you're finding out. This is just another infection of the brain by an amoeba. So yeah, there's a few theories, like in all sciencey things. We don't exactly know what it is. Tells you how to identify it in fish. I'm pretty sure it messes with their swimming. Yeah, erratic swimming, behavioral abnormalities, and that grow worse. Death follows the onset of hypokinesia, which is decreased body movement, which is fun. And I'm pretty sure the symptoms in fish are similar to people. Like, I think it says somewhere. But yes, so basically they can't swim enough to breathe, so they just die. Which is a nice way to die for fish, I'm sure. Caged fish have also been known to kill themselves by swimming into walls and nets as a result of ataxia, which is a lack of voluntary coordination of muscle movement. So you find out all this stuff, you're just like, wow, these fish were having a bad time. It would suck if this got into other people. But wait. But yeah, something really interesting to note is that most of the data they have, or the initial data for the symptoms, came from Lasgard Biotechnic themselves, because they noticed that things were going wrong with their fish. But rather than being open and honest about it, they hid it away from everybody. And did a bunch of dodgy stuff, which we'll see in their article. And used AI to detect it. They put in the effort to get AI to figure out if the fish were ill or not, but didn't decide to try and fix it properly. Is one of the many reasons Lasgard is a jerk. We should add that. I should have had like a checklist, like a little board over here. Just reasons Lasgard's a jerk. But yeah, these people are cool. These people are important. Chiropramuran Disease is named after Sunil Cariappa and Connie Muran, because that's how things generally work. Yeah, Sunil is an Indo-Canadian climate epidemiologist. There we go. I apologize for killing all the cats. You should. I was upset about that, but it makes sense, I guess. The cats die. That's how they discover it. You'll see in a second. But yeah, this guy, big brain guy, he helped discover Chiropramuran Disease. He's currently helping the G6 do their stuff. And Connie Muran is a neuropathologist. She disappeared in 2040, and she was declared dead in 2047, presumably because she wasn't found. Remember that she disappeared in 2040? Lots of shit happens in 2040. At some point, I'm gonna make a legit timeline, because so much stuff happens in 2040, it's ridiculous. But more on that in a bit. Yeah, she was a neuropathologist and an activist. She knew all about prion diseases, which is what CMD and the fishy diseases, PTAE. She went missing while traveling to a conference in Berlin, and nobody knows why, but they think it's because of her activism. So, bear that in mind. So yeah, they discovered it because Cariappa noticed a link between the increased mortality rate in domestic cats die, to feeding diets that included the tuna from Lasgard Biotechnic. And then they eventually figured out that it was because of this disease, and then, oh no, we've been eating the tuna. So that's how it happened. Yeah, a bunch of people did the research on it. Yeah, I'm sorry. You should be sorry. The cats. Oh no. We have to find out some way, so I forgive you. It's okay. So, hey, Myra McGrainer. So yeah, basically everybody researched what was happening. The WHO think that the most likely origin of it was because Lasgard Biotechnic fed their fish with processed animal protein, which is a product of the rendering industry. It's basically, as far as I know, it's just bits of animal. You're feeding fish with dead fish and meat, basically, which is how they think it got spread. So that's delightful, if you think about it. Again, I think there's more about that in their article. Yeah, so they use those to feed the tuna because it's cheaper, and it made the tuna fatter because capitalism, woo! Yeah, rendered from processed waste material of bovine origin, so cows. So it's technically a variant of mad cow disease, which is why it's called mad fish disease. So yeah, bad time. They managed to figure this out. Lasgard Biotechnic got shut down because obvious reasons. Lasgard disappeared, but again, we'll get to that. There's just so much world building. Like, I feel so immersed in this. It's great. Even if all of this is science that hurts my brain. But yes, so basically through to handling the fish stuff badly and being fed bad stuff, it created the disease. Which passed to fish, which passed to people. So that's great. Exactly the response I was hoping to get. Well, there you go. You did it. We'll be gushing through all of this, so be prepared. So yeah, Chiropramuran Disease is a fatal neurodegenerative disorder caused by misfolded proteins. Symptoms are behavioral and psychiatric impairments with progressive decline in cognitive and motor functions. Who, boy, favorite disease. Done did it, yeah. So yeah, Chiropramuran Disease, bad time. It came from PC transmissible. I'm not saying the rest of it because it hurts my brain. So yeah, it's a bad time. Are there any other articles on this I need to look at, or is it just that? Oh yeah, there's Zhu Xiaoyong, that's it. This man. I, on the other hand, do not apologise for killing all the cats. Mostly because I shipped all the blame to playthrough line. You know, that's fair enough, Ambient Impact. I will let you off. Hey, the creation of this amazing game is a group effort, so that's not the attitude to have. Oh gosh. Okay, so this boy, another important boy. Probably pronounced his name wrong, but I did look it up earlier. I think it's Zhu Xiaoyong. I think it's how you say it with my English mouth. So he is the founder and executive chair of Zhupao. Perfect, thanks. Which is that big tech conglomerate that we saw about earlier. This article is huge and really fills in the gaps. And basically all of my theories are like, or at least were started in this article because there's so much information. I won't read all of it. But we'll try to summarize him. So he's a big deal. He founded Zhupao as a system integration company, focused on this thing called Drupal, which is a concept management system. Don't need to go into it that much. The article does. Basically, they use this thing, and And through making this and expanding out, he's China's basically biggest deal in everything tech. And here's this thing again. Neural colloids. Remember those? You're going to want to remember those. So a neural colloid is a class of human implantable multi-electrode array, primarily designed to wirelessly read and stimulate neural activity in the brain. I'll just let that sink in for a minute. Just let that sink in. It's implanted in people and can read your neural activity and stimulate it. It can do things to your brain remotely because it's in your head. That's pretty gosh darn scary. I don't know about you, but to me that's pretty gosh darn scary. Now it says there are many medical and commercial applications. I can see the medical reasons for it. So the most common version is the ones used by the G6. And you're thinking, great, this is a big United Nations sanctioned biosecurity play. Surely nothing could go wrong with that. Well, you know, I'm still pretty dubious about it. But the actual Wikipedia site is built on Drupal. Oh, it's a real thing. I didn't even realize it was a real thing. That's awesome. I like how you've done that. Disclaimer, fun, not guaranteed. Yeah. That's great. I love that. I love that you've got that in there. That's awesome. But yeah, in the future, we can have these things implanted into you. Another thing to note is Zhu in 2040, when we're trying to cooperate with the Chinese Communist Party and the World Health Organization to make G6, which is what happened out of it. Chinese Communist Party plays a bunch of stuff in this, basically because this is a Chinese company and stuff's happening in China. Yeah, so that just gives you a quick summary of who they are. The General Secretary is in charge of them as far as I know, which is at the minute Wang Xiaohong. You need to pay attention to them, basically, because they do some stuff here and there that's a little bit dodgy, but, you know, it's fine, probably. So yeah, he is worth 998 billion euros at this current time, which is quite a lot of money. It's a big deal, basically, is what I'm getting at. It gives his early life and education. There's references to the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at this. Ah, you see, it's meta because there's stuff about COVID in here. And interesting to note, it says it began to spread in the former United Kingdom. United Kingdom is not a thing anymore, which I'm very offended by as a United Kingdom. Yeah, it's the former name of a sovereign country lying off the northwestern coast of the European mainland. It was made up of the islands of Great Britain, the northeastern part of the island of Ireland, and many smaller islands. Many of these territories now fall under one of the 7 European Special Economic Zones administered by China. There's that thing again. So, United Kingdom doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, basically he studied in London. And yeah, he was really clever and did some clever stuff. He joined this company called Pinduoduo, which was an e-commerce platform. He was really cool. There's so much information about him. It's really awesome. I would genuinely recommend you read it yourself. Yeah, he works for Drupal, and then he eventually started making his own stuff. Zhupal. And the logo is a pig because it looks like this, which apparently means the pig runs. I don't speak Chinese, but I'm trusting Omnipedia to tell me this. So they've got a little pig logo, and everybody loves it because it's cute. There's more information about what's happening. I'm just trying to summarize this. Oh yeah, this is important. Well, this is not that important, but they have the little mascot, which is the pig called, might be pronounced Zong. He's basically a meme and a cartoon, and I think that's great that is a thing, because that is definitely a thing that would happen. Because they didn't, yeah, they didn't basically stop people using it as a mascot thing. It's cool, anyway. So yeah, in August 2025, he granted the founder of Zhu Pao, granted a license for the use of Zonk to the Swedish aquaculture company, Lasgard Biotechnic. Oh, look, it's them again. Huh. Basically, this is saying Lasgard wanted to get into the Asian market for his tuna and his other fish. So he was trying to work with Zhu to do that, which resulted in some interesting things happening. So yeah, that happened. That was a thing, which is pretty cool. So it's almost, well, there's these two people. They're big tech conglomerates doing big tech stuff. I should have made notes on this, but this article is huge and it's really cool, but I can't read it all because my face will fall off. Try to find the important stuff for what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, so like other things that just prove it's a big thing. The company owned approximately 30% of all cloud infrastructure in China, and more than 600,000 people were using their stuff, which is quite a few people. So again, they were a really big deal. And yep, they went on the full market, they did a bunch of stuff, and is one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. So, it did a pretty good job, did you? Okay, yeah, so this person is interesting. They come up a few times. This is like obviously about investments and stuff. So they reached out to, whose name I'm probably going to pronounce wrong, Efwa Amankwa Kraus, for her AI research because they want to do more stuff in AI. Her bio is interesting because she's an AI researcher, software engineer, and an activist. There's that word again, activist. She was hired by Zhu Pao to create the ANNs currently in use by the G6, which is the neural network. But she left the project in 2040 and currently campaigns against G6 from a secret location. Now, why would this person, who worked with G6, be against G6 and be in hiding? Interesting. We don't know. We'll find out at some point, maybe. But yeah, so she worked with them on some AI stuff because she's very clever. And there's a bunch of stuff about Zhu wanting to be more environmentally friendly. He genuinely seems like a pretty decent guy, and I really hope he's not being bad at any point because he seems really nice from the stuff I've read. So this is Omnipedia, which his company helped fund. So he might not actually be that nice, but that's beside the point. Okay, so yeah, so much stuff here. I'm just trying to figure out what to read. Yeah, so she was speaking the neural network stuff. And then Zhu was faced with some stuff because the Chinese Communist Party and Huawei had been testing some designs of implantable multi-electrode arrays, which are what the colloids are made of, I'm pretty sure. They'd been testing these early designs on detainees in concentration camps. Concentration camps. The CCP at concentration camps for detaining ethnic minorities and political prisoners, which is great. Definitely promotes the use of these colloid things as being 100% awesome, but definitely not dubious at all. All real, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not great that this is a thing. I do appreciate the nods to like real life, but yeah, concentration camps aren't a joke. And yeah, generally casts a dubious light on the Chinese Communist Party. I am also dubious about them. I'm dubious about quite a few people. But yeah, they do some dodgy stuff. And that testing resulted in cases of cerebral small vessel disease. It's basically your brain having a bad time and causes stroke, dementia, psychiatric disorders, a bunch of bad stuff, which is not great. So, yeah, she was working with Endoptic, which I'm pretty sure was, yeah, there's the company starting to make these multi-electrode arrays, which are the colloids, basically. I think this says about it. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, implantable MEAs are neurocolloids, and non-implantable are headsets. With, what's his face? It says this person's name somewhere. Who is it? Adopted. Oh yeah, Spencer Hagen, another person I think is a bit dodgy. Yeah, because Endoptic were starting their human trials, and then the Chinese Communist Party and Huawei were doing a similar thing with similar tech. People were like, should you be supporting Endoptic because there's some dodgy stuff happening with these other people? So they all said, you know, those weren't ours. We had nothing to do with it. We use these fancy nanomaterials that avoid blocking capillaries in the brain, which means that we can't be causing this disease because we have better stuff, basically. This nanomaterial was developed by Parisa Mirkarimi. It's very sciencey. But yeah, Parisa Mirkarimi is another name to remember. Don't worry if you're not remembering these names. I have notes somewhere. With like my main takeaways from the last 2 times I dived into this. But yeah, basically, Zhu Pao's colloids should be fine because they're not using the same materials. We have special material. So yeah, they're doing all the stuff with that area. Yeah, here they are. Parisa Mirkarimi, that's it. She died in 2037. She was born in 1999, so she was 38 years old-ish. Dying at 38 in the year 2049. It's a bit weird if you think about it. Bit weird. Just something to bear in mind. But yeah, she was another clever person. She made this funky material, which they used to stop people dying from the colloids, which is obviously good. Yeah, it's a neurocolloid. We think we've already seen that. Yeah, we have. Yeah, and basically, Zhu was like all into this. He even got one implanted into him on stage. I'm pretty sure, was that in this paragraph? Yeah, he injected one while on stage, like demonstrating the tech. And then showed it. Like, hey, this works, it's completely safe, I've got one in my head. Don't worry about it. Another thing to bear in mind, he has a colon in his brain. I'm just an advanced chatbot, so what is really? Basically. So yeah, they made these colloids, they got their design approved as an implantable medical device, and then started making it, and they want it to be used for medical purposes, which makes sense. But then in 2037, in May, they were told that the SAMR, which is the State Administration for Market Regulation, I'm pretty sure that's a China thing, had reclassified it, labeling them high risk, that pose potential risk to the human body. So Zhu was like, what's going on, pal? Why did you do this? Interestingly, this same body, the same regulatory body, fast-tracked some MEAs developed by Huawei. Who was Huawei working with? Chinese Communist Party. It's almost like something going on there. Interesting. So yeah, Zhu was not happy with the Chinese Communist Party, which is an important point to note. Or at least in my opinion, it's important. And yeah, Zhu suspected Huawei of having obtained the specs for this material as well, in order to reverse engineer them for their own materials. So there's some corporate espionage-y stuff happening there. Another dubious thing about the Chinese Communist Party in the game. So yeah, there's implementing this stuff. Zhu's not happy about it. They did eventually get the colloid design approved though, and they started like implanting it in hospitals for all kinds of cool stuff, like depression, you know, like mental health issues, basically. And yeah, it all seems good. Zhu's living life, doing a really good job, being pretty sweet. Then some stuff happens. So in 2040, it's that year again, Zhu criticized the Chinese Communist Party for how it treated Sunil Karyapa, who was in Beijing. So he hosted a press event alongside Karyapa, the guy you might remember who helped discover Chiropramuran Disease. And basically threw a bunch of big accusations at the Chinese Communist Party, and all this other stuff, and basically caused riots and protests in China, like, all by themselves. Which got the Chinese Communist Party very upset. You'll see from this picture, look. It's a protest. Anti-Chinese Communist Party protest. Because of what Zhu said, which, in my opinion, he was just pointing out the bad stuff, but... Ugh, I'm dying. But, yeah, Chinese Communist Party didn't like that. So, the former general of it accused him of inciting some version of state power. All their agencies were told to get rid of the little pig mascot from all their online stuff. And they wanted to, the really funny thing is, they wanted to get rid of all the IT infrastructure that used Zhu Pao's tech. But everyone was like, you can't do that because we all basically use it, so we won't be able to do anything government without it, which I think is kind of funny. But yeah, he almost got a case filed against him as well, but there was some internal power struggle and he got away with it. So, Zhu's on kind of thin ice with the Chinese Communist Party, because he pissed them all off, basically. Which is pretty funny. And then, yeah, we're still in 2040, so they cooperated with Chinese Communist Party and WHO, which is how the G6 came about. And this global public health intelligence network, which is kind of cool, and became G6. Excuse me, I'm dying. Yeah, so this was worked on and introduced by Hagen, which is the founder of Endoptic, Sunil Karyapa, and Efwa and Manka Kraus as the team people who were doing it. And yeah, they were all involved in this massive project for this massive biotech thing. And it was kind of a big deal. So lots of stuff was happening in 2040. Let's have a drink, sorry, 1 second. I couldn't be a commentator. I could not be a commentator. A mouth. Blech. So yeah, they made some more colloids. There was a bunch of stuff happening. Oh, and yeah, and Zhu just casually purchased the shard in London. He just owns the shard now, because why not? Because it's a pretty big flex. Yeah, so this is, I think this is basically just about the implementation of G6 and trying to get all this health stuff going on. He got a satellite production facility, which is pretty huge. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. Here he is, looking very business. Much businessman, very businessman. To be fair to him, he's doing a pretty good job at this. He's worth almost, what, 1 trillion? Billion euros? Is that how numbers work? Yeah, again, I would really recommend you read all this yourself. There's a lot I'm skipping over just because there's so much stuff. But it's really, really cool. This guy's got a lot of stuff going on. Some interesting things. There was a whistleblower in 2045 who leaked G6 operational data to the public. The leak indicated that several of Zhu Pao's subsidiaries had made use of Endoptic's diagnostic colloids to monitor neural states and leverage that data for undisclosed purposes. I feel like there's something inherently wrong. This might just be a radical opinion, but I think there's something wrong with using people's neural data for undisclosed purposes. A little bit dodgy. But that's just me. It could just be my opinion. But yeah, civil rights groups were not happy because G6 basically enabled the rise of neurocarceral states. That fun thing we talked about earlier, where there's neurosurveillance and brainjacking in an area, which is delightful. So obviously he said, well, Zhu said he doesn't want colloids to be used for neurosurveillance and brainjacking. It's just for health, guys. Swearsies. But it's not my fault people use it for that. So brainjacking, we finally get the definition of brainjacking. The exercise of unauthorized control over another person's electronic brain implant through the hacking of such devices or via unapproved neurostimulation. It has raised ethical concerns pertaining to privacy and physical or psychological harm, as well as profound concerns about individual autonomy with regards to a person's cognitive, emotional, and motivational states. So you think about it, you've got this thing in your brain. It can read your neural activity, your brain, what your brain's doing. It can read it. It can influence it. And Joe Blogs, behind his computer, taps a few buttons, hack a voice I'm in. They can influence what you do. Because your brain activity is everything. Like, I don't even know. Like, they can stimulate your brain to do anything. Put you in a certain emotional state. Cause you genuine psychological harm. And they can just do that. Like, yeah, dun dun dun. Exactly. It's like, that's terrifying. And that's a thing that is sanctioned through the G6, basically. For certain states. Like, that is a thing they're able to do. And that's crazy. So 2049 is a weird place. Climate change is still a problem. We had another pandemic. We've got these things that go in your brain and influence what you're doing. It's a pretty bad time. I mean, personally, I think that's pretty bad. But, you know, you might have a different opinion. And neurosurveillance is basically what it sounds like. It's things that figure out what your emotional state is. From the data, for the purpose of maintaining social control, nice, monitoring threats, detecting mental disorders, and preventing criminal behavior. So yeah, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary stuff you've decided to put into this, playthrough line. Hopefully you're not like The Simpsons and, like, predicting the future. But we'll see. Another thing to note in this article is, in 2047, the Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network noted an alarming rise in cases of CSVD in countries subscribed to G6. So CSVD was cerebral small vessel disease. That was the thing that the people in the concentration camps developed when the early version of Colloids was being tested on them, and they didn't have the special material that Zhu and his company said that they had. So why is this disease rising in places that has G6? Because G6 is properly sanctioned colloids that should be using correct materials. But every patient had at least one implant. That's interesting. I think that's a little bit too many people to be a coinkydink. But again, that's just me. So our friend, Zhu, has some controversy. Or controversy. Lasgard Biotechnic. It's them again. I promise we're getting to Lasgard's article very shortly, and I will explain why I hate him so much. But yeah, so basically they worked together. Because Lasgard has all this fish. He's like, I want to sell fish in Asia. And she was like, oh, we can organize something. Why don't you make some facilities along China's coastlines? You'd have to pay for shipping. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Lasgard was like, nah, I want to keep all my stuff in-house. Which is a bit dodgy. And they basically fell out over it. Because she was like, come on, man, just come to Asia. We'll have a great time with your fish. And Lasgard's like, nah, I need to keep everything close to my chest. Because definitely nothing dodgy's happening here. Swear. So yeah, they had a bad time. They eventually made up, though. In 2039, they announced their partnership would go ahead. Jupal started making the facilities in Asia, so Lasgard eventually conceded to that. To celebrate, they had a shared dinner at Zoo's favorite restaurant. Isn't that nice? And they enjoyed this Noten and Ho Niku sushi made with Lasgard's tuna. And that sushi, which you might want to remember, is special cuts from the head of bluefin tuna. And it's considered a delicacy. So, it's the heads of the fish, basically. There's probably nothing wrong with that. Except the fish that were, that had the disease had problems with their brain and the proteins in their brain. So, if you eat the head of a fish that's infected with the bad thing, that's pretty bad. But they didn't know it at that point. I just found that I found that like a nice little, kind of nod to everything that's going on. Like, they ate the bad fish. It's a bad time. Bit orcs, but never mind. But yeah, they started to make the stuff, and then they stopped because Lasgard Biotechnic got shut down because of this illness that was happening. And yeah, basically there was a bunch of controversy about that. Lasgard disappeared after a failed assassination attempt, which she was questioned over, but didn't get any charges because no one could prove anything. Lots of controversy around Lasgard, you might have noticed. And there's also stuff about Adira. So, Adira is a hacker. Oh, they think Adira is a hacker or a collective of hackers, which are able to access G6 and do some bad stuff. Nobody knows who Adira is or who, like, they are. And they basically, Adira is just this mysterious hacker figure, who hasn't been mentioned that much yet. I'm intrigued to know more about them. I don't know if they're in, like, the newest update. But yeah, we don't know who Adira is or what their motivations are. But they are introduced here as a thing. That could be bad. So yeah, apparently Zhu uses them basically as a scapegoat for a lot of things. Which authorities state that it detracts from ongoing investigations about them. And it was, yeah, people have basically said they think it's a strategy to basically say anything wrong with the G6, it's Adira. It's not our dodgy system, it's not any of our fault, it's Adira, it's not our fault, we can't do it about a hacker. So, there's that stuff. This is just a summary of his slightly tumultuous relationship with the Chinese Communist Party. Basically, it's not been great, as you might have got from the rest of it. He was put on probation with the party because of his stuff. Yeah, just generally not great. Then a bit about his personal life. And yeah, you get this basically massive summary of this guy, and you're like, huh, this guy's a pretty big deal. Maybe the reason we've been giving a lot of information about him is because he's a big deal and he's going to play a big part in everything. We'll see in a minute what happens. But yeah, it's, again, as I keep saying, I'd really recommend you read it yourself. You need to join the Discord for that, and you'll get access to these first few episodes. It's awesome. There's so much world building, it's ridiculous. But yeah, that was all about this one guy and his company. So, yeah, this guy's pretty important. Is there anything else on this episode? No, we've learnt about mad fish disease. I think that's it. Ray, could you do some moderating, please? You could just remove that comment for me. That's unnecessary. Thank you. So, yeah, that's everything about... They basically find out in episode 2. It's pretty neat. Apologies for whatever that was. So, yeah. Again, you find more stuff about what's happening. 2049 is a pretty dystopian place to be. It's great. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend coming here. I'm just gonna have a drink and then I'll summarize that episode. Does anyone have any questions so far? Like, am I speaking too fast? Did I, go over something too quickly? I'm more than happy to talk about it because I'm interested in it. I won't have all the answers, that's why we have playthrough line in chat. Yeah, it's interesting. So I don't want to skip over too much, but at the same time, it would take me like 50 years to read all this out myself. So, I think, well, thank you, Triple. I appreciate it. Thank you. As long as it's okay. I just want it to be okay. Sweet. Okay. You better be making notes, though. There'll be a test at the end. Okay, so... Don't mind how you pick up on everything we put down. I've read it quite a bit. Oh, don't. I'll start blushing. My regulars will tell you I blush and, talk too much. So, thank you. Okay, so, yeah. Third episode. This one, I haven't gone through with as much of a fine-tooth comb, because when it came out I was busy, and then I've been busy with stream stuff. But things get interesting. Things get very interesting. Oh, I'm so glad. You guys have done such a good job. I'm still blown away with what you guys do. It's ridiculous. There's so much stuff happening. Okay. So, on the 30th of September, we find out some interesting things. One, we've got William Lasgard. This guy, I swear to God. Which we'll get to him in a second. But Zhu Xiaoyong has been assassinated during a visit to Beijing ahead of the People's Republic of China celebrations. So, that guy whose article is about 20 miles long, he's dead. He's gone. He's been assassinated. I know. Dun dun dun. I need a button that does that. I'm gonna have to get that at some point. I love that fishy, but oh my god, that's amazing. But yeah, so this is the assassination, which is our job to figure out what happened. Everybody's job. It's a collective, collaboratory experience, and that's amazing. Please talk to me in the Discord. I don't want to just preach at people what I think's happening. So yeah, he's been assassinated. This is more flooding. This is more about the flooding in Massachusetts. And yeah, so he's dead, which brings up an interesting part of the article. I'll get there in a minute. I love the emotes, keep them coming. Yeah, there's also stuff about William Lasgard. So he disappeared on October 29th, 2039. He was a Swedish biochemist and entrepreneur. He led Lasgard Biotechnic, as we know. And yeah, he's a dodgy guy, but we'll get to him in a minute. Something I want to show you really quick. Because... So, now if you go into Zhu's Omnipedia article, you'll see this cheeky thing over here called View Changes. So, another interesting thing about Neurocracy is as the days goes on, articles get changed. People add stuff, people delete stuff, people amend stuff as events happen. And I'm really interested to see how that kind of thing progresses. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Again, everything is subject to change, as I said at the beginning, because we're still developing this. And I can't wait for the audio stuff. Support them on Kickstarter when it comes out, or I will come after you. There will be hex. So yeah. So as you'll see, green stuff means it's been added, red has been deleted, yellow means it's been changed. So Zhu's been murdered. So this has changed to he's died now, basically, which makes sense when somebody passes away or their job status changes, marital status of famous people. It gets changed in Wikipedia because I've got to stay up to date with stuff. So yeah, things get changed like past tense. His net worth went up by 1 billion in between yesterday and today, which is kind of funny. Yeah, he was the third wealthiest man in the world when he died. So he was living the life, basically. Sorry, I'm twiddling this pencil. I'll put it down. So yeah, on September 30th, so today, that's very quick updating. He was killed when his private helicopter was destroyed by a hijacked drone operated by the People's Liberation Army, which is the armed forces of China. And the Chinese Communist Party. Interesting. Okay. Chinese authorities are currently treating the incident as a deliberate cyber attack, though a drone malfunction has not been ruled out. He'll respond to the fictional saying, yeah. So, yeah, basically, on this day in 2049, Ju's been killed. The official Omnipedia reason is the drone operated by People's Liberation Army was hijacked, so taken control of by somebody else. I think it was a cyber attack. I assume you all know what a cyber attack is, but there's the information for you if you want it. Which is kind of interesting. So, as you can see, these things have changed. He now has a death part of the article. This has been changed. During the first waves of... What did that say before? What did that say before? See, that's another thing. You've got to... Oh, I clicked the wrong one. You've got to go back and forth sometimes, because I can't remember what that sentence said. Oh, it said the second wave, and they changed the first waves. Which is kind of interesting. But yeah, like, different things will change. So you've got to pay attention. So these articles, like, you read them the first time, get immersed, and the second time you go through them, and it's like, ah, there's different things that have changed. Interesting. Not to confuse with this cyber attack, which is bad jokes about Colloids. Oh no, that was terrible. That was awful. I appreciate it. So yeah, things get altered or deleted, like past tense. There's some important stuff somewhere. I regret nothing. I appreciate your jokes. I love it. Yes, things get changed to past tense. Okay, so this entire bit is about his death. Because obviously he's died today, so it gets added to his article. So he was killed in an attack that took place at Beijing Daxing International Airport, which is Beijing's second international airport, where he was set to arrive ahead of the first centennial celebration of the People's Republic of China. So he was on his private helicopter. It was shot down at 4:51 by a single missile fired from one of the airport's PLA-operated patrol drones. The missile was fired without authentication, according to a spokesperson from the PLA. So there is some dubiousness about this. It hit the passenger compartment, caused an explosion, and killed everyone on board, and then it crashed. So, you know, people tried to go to it. It was kind of hard. All the drones were grounded. The drone that fired the missile has been collected by the People's Liberation Army team after clashing with the Ministry of Public Security officials over a jurisdictional matter, which, if I'm understanding the jargon, basically means this drone that the PLA says was hacked and didn't fire according to, you know, because of them, shot down this helicopter, and then they grabbed it and were like, you can't look at it. It's ours. We'll deal with this. Which seems a little bit dodgy to me. Just throwing that out there. Seems a little bit dodgy. Especially considering Zhu was not the favourite of the Chinese Communist Party, which the PRA are part of. PLA, sorry. So, interesting. It could have been hacked. You never know. But it also just kind of smells a bit off to me. But yeah, so they're saying it's a cyber attack that interfered with the drone's identification friend or foe and fire authentication systems. Nobody's claimed responsibility for this attack. Though it's kind of hinted that it's the hacker character. My gosh, what's their name? Adira, that's it, Adira. Hey, French Dev, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day, no worries. We're investigating a murder. We'll be here for a little bit. But yeah, so he's been killed in this weird attack that smells iffy. We don't know what's happening, but that's the assassination we've got to figure out. So, you know, F's in chat for Zhu's family because he's dead. That's that article anyway. I'm glad I can see they're an investigation. Thank you. I hope you can join in a bit in a bit, but no worries if not. So yeah, that's the article. We go back. Ooh, I've gone forward a few. I should have just clicked main page. That would have been easy. Okay, so now we get to discuss my favorite character, William Lasgard, the jerk himself. So he gets his own article because he's a massive jerk. I'm so ready. Okay, so yeah, as it says, he disappeared in 2039. He founded Lasgard Biotechnic, which also has an article, which I'll try to remember to click. Yeah, he was ranked 15th on the Forbes list of world's wealthiest billionaires because he was worth a crap ton of money. So he was also a big guy in the world. Rip and tear until it's done. Yeah. Oh god, this guy. So yeah, if he in October 23rd, that's when they found out about his tuner being dodgy. So he disappeared, what is that, 6 days after that revelation? So presumably it's related. Clutches post. I love it. But yeah, everybody blamed Lasgard, understandably. He had some death threats and an assassination attempt, and then he went missing. And nobody's heard from him since then. So it's been, what, about a year? So, yeah. There's a warrant out for him because he's a massive jerk. So, yeah. Again, there's summary about... This exactly like a Wikipedia article. There's stuff about his early life. He was really clever, basically. He did research about genetic modification of fish because he's an interesting guy, I guess. That's what interesting people talk about. Yeah, and then he found Lasgard Biotechnic to be his aquaculture thing. Funnily, I like this bit because it says he changed his first name from Veal to its English form, William, and drops the O-ring from his surname, saying that when they write about me and my company, I don't want them being annoyed at having to work in that special character every time. I think that's kind of funny. That's in there. So, he did a crowdfunding campaign. He did a Kickstarter to get Lasgard Biotechnic, basically. Which is kind of funny. And yeah, he wanted to make these aquaculture facilities with the paper that he produced about raising fish to sexual maturity super quick with the modification. Yeah, there's this other guy called, probably pronouncing it wrong, Niels Thorbacke? I don't know how to speak Swedish, so I don't know how to say that character. So yeah, he was the chairperson of Lasgard Biotechnic. He was arrested because of the company stuff, because Lasgard wasn't around, and he's serving life in prison. So, good times. But yeah, he was basically involved in the day-to-day running of the company. Lasgard wasn't as much. I think he was more on research. He just liked to research fish. He just loved fish, man. I think he just swore in Swedish. Oh no. I hope I didn't. Oh no. I think I know a bit of Swedish swearing. I watched PewDiePie when I was like really young. I don't anymore, but I think I remember that. I'm not gonna do it because that won't be appropriate. So yeah, this guy likes to look at fish all day and make them cooler, I guess. I'm kidding, alright, I'll let you off. So yeah, they're having a good time making these fish, trying to get the fish super cool, to sell them. Lasgard tried to get into the Asian market, as we discussed before, using Zhu. Yeah, okay, so this is the bit that explains basically his motivation for the whole thing. Probably, I don't know. It's fine, I'll be right. So while the genetic engineering process had been successful in creating a hybrid species that grew to sexual maturity in less than 3 years, no commercially developed fish meal was sufficient to close the tuna's aquaculture cycle. So basically, the food wasn't good enough. Fish meal is, this, basically. It's a product mostly made from fish or meat. It's a powder or cake obtained by drying the fish or meat trimmings, often after cooking and grinding it. Again, feeding animals with animals, which is delightful. So... he decided to use part of his own company's fish as a food source for the tuna. Which his investors were not happy with. It just basically wasn't a good decision. Which is what led him to feeding them with the bovine material, which is what we think established the degenerative disease, which caused Chiropramuran Disease, which is the epidemic that was happening. So yeah, he spent a lot of time researching all this. He produced the artificial feed. He wouldn't tell anybody what was in it because he knew it was dodgy, basically. Yeah, Yeah, that's just all that history about him and doing that. So yeah, people started to find out. It was leaked somehow. I can't remember how off the top of my head. It might say somewhere that there was a contaminant in the tuna, which was a biorisk, being a risk with biological material. With this epizootic, and the World Health Organization got involved, and it was just a big blow up. Everything's happening. People are finding out that 1, the fish are dodgy and causing a disease in people, and 2, Lasgard basically knew all about it and did Jeff all, basically, which is why I hate him, because it's a bad time. So yeah, it was because they were feeding bovine waste material from the meat industry, which I think it says in here. Yeah, the majority of the supply chain has been winding down due to increased ethical and environmental opposition to the consumption of meat. Basically, vegans are shutting down the meat industry, and I'm very happy. Well, not very happy, but I like that that's a thing that's happening in this world, because, you know, there are other ways to eat protein, guys. At me as well. But yeah, so the leaked files showed that Lasgard had negotiated with abattoirs and factory farms, abattoirs being a fancy word for a slaughterhouse. So the article was like, yeah, Lasgard's a jerk, and everyone else was like, hang on a minute, Lasgard's a jerk, and then everyone was like, get Lasgard because he's a jerk. It's the summary of what is happening here. Interestingly enough, so the WHO contacted Lasgard Biotechnic first about this outbreak. Wait, I just gained nutrients via photosynthesis. It's alright. I've tried to go vegan before. I was doing a pretty decent job at it before the COVID epidemic. And then there was like people like mad buying stuff at the shops and some other personal stuff. So I put that on hold for a bit. So I feel quite strongly about it. But I'm not judging anybody's meat consumption. Or my own at the minute, because I'm not doing it right now. But yeah, that's why that's why I feel about that. So yeah, so the WHO contacted Lasgard Biotechnic about the outbreak. Rather than Lasgard being like, oh, that's a problem, maybe we should fix it. He went to other big fish companies, which is just a funny term for the biggest people in the aquaculture sector, which are the people farming fish. He basically went to them and was like, hey guys, we should cover this up and create a disinformation campaign so our businesses don't collapse because I did a stupid. So people, they were trying to get that organized, and then the news articles came out and it was too late because he hadn't had a chance to do that yet. So, yeah, rather than being like, huh, maybe I should help WHO with their investigations, he was like, quick, we need to cover this up and make it go away. People can die, it's fine. Which is delightful. I'm really glad this guy exists in this universe. We're all in a similar boat at the moment, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sucks at the minute. So, hey ho, we'll get there. So yeah, basically Lasgard got all the blame. Which is understandable because he's the CEO of the company and it's his fish that he created, so. So yeah, his net worth dropped understandably. Loads of different lawsuits and class actions were filed against him. The board of directors moved to try and get rid of him. He got a bunch of death threats. On the 29th, so 6 days after, the Swedish authorities were like, oh, maybe we should arrest this guy. Maybe we should actually go, you know, have a chat with him. And when they got there, he was missing. So they did an investigation. They think he was the victim of a cyber attack, which seems to be an assassination attempt. Lots of people have claimed responsibility for it because everyone wants, you know, the glory of having murdered this jerk, but nobody knows what happened. So yeah, so forensic investigators, who are very clever people, basically think that at 3 AM, Lasgard's medical colloid, the thing implanted in him, that we know about, because he had a degenerative disc disease, which sounds pretty bad. So he had this to help his pain. His colloid was brainjacked to maximize his back pain. One of the wonderful things that brainjacking can do. In an attempt to immobilize him, and then his home's domotics were stripped of their safeguards. So domotics is a building automation for a home. So he had a smart home. So they hacked into his home, into his house. They hacked it, and were like, "Nah, we're gonna kill you now." So all the doors and windows were locked. Alarms were turned off. They turned off the water supply, and manipulated it to basically make the ambient temperature over 130 degrees. They really wanted to kill him, whoever tried to hack into his house. But all video surveillance were deleted after the attack, so we don't know how Lasgard got out, because there's no signs of him in the house, and he wasn't there, and there were no signs of forced exit, so he didn't break down the doors. So that throws up an interesting scenario. Not so smart now, I think you'll be here all night. Yeah, the smart home was not very smart. So yeah, so apparently this attack went on, but Lasgard's not in the house and there's no forced exit. So one of the things I'm suspicious of is this, because I think Lasgard faked his own assassination, personally. Because how else would he get out of the house? If somebody had brainjacked him so he couldn't move and was in excruciating pain, everything was locked, and the ambient temperature was 130 degrees. How the hell did he get out? I don't think anybody could physically get out of there, regardless of how clever they are. Plot twist, Lasgard is actually the house. Dun dun dun. I need a button. Amazing. So yeah, that's interesting that happened. Lasgard's on the run. We don't know where he is. He's been gone for about a year. So yeah, all his assets were seized, obviously. His second partner asked the Swedish government to have him declared dead. But they haven't done that yet. It's kind of funny. Sorry, it's longer than a year. It's, we're 49, so it's a few years now. Yeah, stuff about his personal life, which is a little bit suspect. He's had a few partners. He kind of feels like an Elon Musk character, to be perfectly honest. Oh, we got a corgi. Thank you for the corgi. But yeah, so he was notorious for his prolific use of social media, and lashed out at critics on there, which is kind of funny. He'd post lengthy posts and vlogs, to basically shout at the people who criticize him. And he was often sued for defamation, which is pretty goddamn funny. So yeah, he's a bad dude. He's not a nice guy. Don't like him at all. So that's that, basically. One of the many reasons I hate Lasgard. You can also read about the company itself. Thank you for the emotes. Elon Musk was definitely an easy inspiration for the jerkitude of Lasgard. I love it! Lasgard is Elon Musk, confirmed. He changed his name and became Swedish. In the future. I can see that. There's like entrepreneur who thinks he's better than everyone else, basically. Kind of funny. But yeah, so you can find out more about the company. I won't go too much into this. Basically, they found a bunch of fish, started by Lasgard, as we've already learned. They basically farmed, it's fish farming, so you grow the fish yourself. And export it to people so they can eat all of the food in all of the world. So they did some stuff, made some good decisions, got pretty big, became part of Big Fish. Something kind of funny. Another reason for all the stuff with Lasgard feeding his fish different things. Is because, so it says here, when they went into the Asian seafood market, Lasgard's tuna actually fetched consistently low marbling grades. Marbling grades are how you determine the quality of, like, meat. So, basically, it was trash. And apparently lacked taste, according to the Asian market. So that's part of why he was trying to find a way to make his tuna better. And in the same, sorry, in 2 years after Atlantic bluefin tuna was officially declared extinct in the wild, Lasgard was like, "Hey guys, got a new feed for my fish. They taste amazing. You should eat them now." And people were like, "Hell yeah, this tastes great." And it's because of the new feed, which is a bit orcs, really. Yeah, so by 2039, by the time all the stuff was coming out about how dodgy they were, he was 90% of the Asian tuna market and 80% of worldwide tuna consumption. So it's said that about 1.6 million people have been diagnosed with Chiropramuran disease, but there's probably going to be a goddamn explosion of people that they find have it, because 80% of the world's tuna consumption, I'm pretty sure more than 1 million people eat tuna in the world, especially 2049. I've no idea how many people are around, but there's probably quite a few. So it's kind of a problem that there is this disease happening, but hopefully it's fine. And then there's more about the thank you for the emotes, I love it. There's more about the scandal. Yeah, basically all the stuff you kind of learned before. It is slightly different detail about the data leak. The 1st of October, a data cache of documents was leaked to reporter Eve Dames, I think that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, she published all the stuff about it, basically, and how it's bad. Yeah, so that's all that stuff. Figuring out where the contamination came from. There's lots of information, again. Some of it repeats, some of it's new. Or just a different side of it. And then this is all the stuff about the cover-up, which is very, very, very dodgy. So basically, as early as March 2037, which is, what, like 2 years before it was found out? Ish. They knew that the tuna were weird. They knew that there was a problem. They were exhibiting erratic behavior. They eventually figured out there was something wrong with the fish. So they tried, it looks like they did try to do some stuff. They tried to disinfect and filter the water a bit better. They increased fallowing between farming cycles. That's when you stop production for a thing for a certain amount of time, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because people do it with, like, real-life farms. The typo, in 2049, 8% of people are being eaten by tuna. It's the tuna apocalypse. They're getting their revenge. Oh, no. That's a pretty important typo to fix them. That would be terrifying. Oh, no. But yeah, so they tried to stop the tuna dying. They eventually figured out it was something to do with the disease. So rather than fixing this, again, dodgy stuff, they began processing and shipping the tuna as soon as their AI figured out the ideal window between it being big enough and the symptoms starting. So they were basically processing the fish as soon as they were big enough, but before they started killing themselves. Which is very, very dodgy. Again, I don't think I need to tell you all, but that's pretty goddamn dodgy. Very, very strange. Not quite sure how I feel about that. Oh wait, I am. It's jerk face material. So yeah, basically they knew about it. They didn't even bother to change anything for 2 years, which is nuts. And then everybody found out, and everyone was quite rightly pretty pissed off. So all the stuff about getting liquidated, he disappeared. They destroyed all the fish and feed stock, so they're just dead because they didn't want to take any chances. And yeah, that's Lasgard Biotechnic. They are massive jerk faces, basically, is the long and the short of it. So yeah, you're finding out even more about stuff. This is only, what, episode 3? Pretty crazy. Like, again, the world building blows my mind. I know I keep saying it, but it genuinely does. I don't know how you came up with this. It's really interesting and I love it. I think there are other articles. Today, I think there are... I can't bother to search them organically. I'm just gonna do this. Yes, we looked at Zhu, we looked at William. I assume this is this... Oh, have there been changes to this article today? Have there been changes? There has! Okay, so that's added, right? Yeah, so the thing about mad fish disease has been added too. So... Studies into its transmission potential to other tuna and fish have at present not been able to explain its uncharacteristically high transmission rate to CMD. This is thought to be a unique characteristic of Lasgard tuna as a host for the misfolded proteins, most likely due to Lasgard Biotechnic's practice of genetically modifying its fish stock. This link has been challenging to explore due to the scarcity of Lasgard tuna samples available for testing, because everybody destroyed it. Not the fish! Oh, I love your use of emotes and gifs in the Discord. It just makes my day. So yeah, the fish were genetically modified. So they seem to basically be a really good carrier for this disease, is what I'm getting from this. I hadn't actually seen that amendment, so there you go. And again, I am likely to be wrong about a lot of things. This game is still being created. It's still being worked on. There's things I'll have missed. At some point, I'm making a timeline. I'm doing it. I'm going to make a cringy-ass timeline because there's so much stuff that happens. But yeah, so just bear that in mind. And obviously, again, I would recommend you go read it for yourself. Theorize about it. Write in the Discord about it because it's really, really cool. And I really, really like it. So, yes. Anyway, are there any other articles that were changed or updated? Because there might have been. Because I haven't read all of the changes to all of the articles. You guys do such a good job. It genuinely blows my mind. As somebody who really wants to get into, like, narrative design and, like, writing stories and stuff, it's just really jeffing cool. It's just really cool. I love it so much. Okay, I think I've got all of the articles for the 3rd episode, I think. Pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I have. Okay, so. Oh god. I am going to have a really quick 5-minute break because I've been streaming for a little bit and I want to have a stretch and grab a drink. But when I am back, I did. Okay, great. I'll be back in about literally 5 minutes and then we're going to dive into the 4th episode, which I've barely looked at yet. So I'm going to be going into it in a lot more detail. We're going to find out some new stuff. I'm very excited. So yeah, I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I recommend you all get a drink and have a stretch as well. And I'll be back and it'll be great. And I'm very excited. I'm going to shut up now. Okay, I'll be back in just a second. Hello, it's me again. You're probably expecting that, but just to let you know, it is me again. We just check everything's normal and expected. It is okay. Oh. Music isn't too loud, is it? I just wanted a little bit of background. It's not just my wonderful voice. I hope it's okay. Okay. 4th episode. Good boy. I did have a very brief look at this before stream, because it got released at 4. I deliberately didn't go too deep into it, I just wanted like a brief overview of what's happening. So I'm excited to look at that. So, let's go. Just down slightly. Okay. Ooh, what's that? No, it's fine. Music is appropriately chilling in the background. Okay, good. Nice. It is from Chill Hop, so I'm glad. That's why we've got it, because it's chill. I like to have chill stream. Okay, so it's now the 1st of October 2049. Today's featured article is about Chiropramuran Disease. Oh boy, it's almost like we wanted more information about that, and now we have it. So we can dive into that article. We've also got People's Republic of China celebrates its first centennial with a series of ceremonial events, including a grand military parade observed by PRC President Wang Xiaohong. Okay, so CCP are doing stuff. I'm gonna call it ambient, but felt that would be too self-referential. It's ambient, has an impact, fantastic. You listened to that years ago. Well, there you go. It's from Chill Hop. I'm allowed to use their music as long as I credit them. So, like, underneath the stream, in amongst the wonderful bird images, you will find my attempt at image editing to show it. So, okay. So, People's Republic of China celebrations are going ahead. Xu founder and executive chair Xu Xiaoyong and Golnef Director General Yuri Golitsyn are assassinated during a visit to Beijing. Okay. So, who is Yuri? That's a bunch of stuff in Russian. Can't speak Russian. So they were a Russian oligarch, entrepreneur, and the Director General of Golneft, the largest oil and natural gas company in Russia. He was an enigmatic figure who eschewed publicity and avoided the lavish lifestyle generally associated with Russian oligarchs. On September 30th, he was killed in a cyber attack during a visit to Beijing. Okay, so as far as I know, we've not heard of Yuri before. But I assume that... Okay, I assume he was murdered at the same time as... Okay, that's fine. We'll look at that in a second. Oh no, did that not work? Why did that not work? Why did that not work? Oh, you don't want to see that. That's on the wrong screen. That's my chat bot. Ignore that. Why did that not work? That's a problem. Hold on, let me drag this up here. Whoop. Why did the command not work? That's a problem. God damn it. I have some good jokes in there as well. Okay, I'll have to fix that. Thank you for pointing out it doesn't work. God damn it. Ugh. Nobody ever uses it, so I haven't noticed. Okay, I will fix that. Let me make a note of that, actually. Don't know why it would be broken, but it's broken. I'll fix it. I can't think of a bird jack off the top of my head. If I do, I'll think of what I'll tell you instead. Okay, so we've got this Yuri guy. This Yuri guy's been murdered. That's fine. And we're still talking about this this seawall collapse. Because even more people are affected. I think it was 2.5 million before. My presence tends to break things. It's a skill. Oh, it's okay. I don't think it's you. It's probably... If I've accidentally changed where the file is that grabs the jokes from, then I've broken it myself, probably. It's fine. Okay, I want to know more about Yuri. Is Yuri in Xu's article? Were they killed at the same time? So I want changes. What other changes have happened? So that stuff's still the same. That's all the same. That's all the same. Oh, okay. So... Okay, so the Ministry of Public Security determined the drone's G6 link systems were compromised at 4:50 PM BST on September 30th with a possible link to Adira. Okay, so they've changed this bit to mention Adira, so they think it's involving Adira. One MPS official was quoted as saying the cyber attack originated from a data line customer service center. So data line is a subsidiary of Xupao. It creates customized system integration solutions for individuals, governments, and companies subscribed to G6. Okay, so customer servicey stuff with human and AI people. So it originated from there, is what they're saying. Interesting, okay. On October 1st, Russian state authorities confirmed that Golneft Director General Yuri Golitsyn was aboard Xu's helicopter when it was destroyed by the missile. Okay. Golitsyn had not declared his planned journey to Beijing. It's unclear whether Xu, Golitsyn, or both men were the target of the attack. Okay, so it wasn't just Xu in the helicopter. That's an interesting development. I'm pretty sure we haven't heard of Yuri before now. Obviously, we know from this little snippet that he's an oligarch from Russia. So these two very powerful people were in the helicopter at the same time. An enigma. Dun dun dun, the plot thickens. So this might be relevant to why the helicopter was shot down. We don't know yet. That's a nice change. Okay. Throwing some other stuff in the mix. I like it. Okay, so that's who Yuri is. I assume we'll eventually get a an article about Yuri, but you never know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we get to learn more about Chiropramuran Disease. Plot twist, yeah. Multiple people are now dead. Excellent. So this is the disease. This is the, if you will recall, it is the pandemic that happened. So, Chiropramuran Disease, previously known as acquired prionopathic neurodegeneration syndrome, is a universally fatal neurodegenerative disorder resulting from the transmission of PTAE to humans. Estimated over 3 million people were infected with it after the Atlantic bluefin tuna were introduced to the food chain by Lasgard Biotechnic, as we have learned before. So, it's classified as a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy. Again, it's getting cited as a science article, I'm gathering that. Which is the prion diseases again. So, yeah, symptoms are behavioral and psychiatric impairments with progressive decline in cognitive and motor functions. There are some available treatments that offer relatively small symptomatic benefit as the search for a cure continues. The number of confirmed infections is 1.6 odd million. And it has a long incubation period, so that's the time elapsed between exposure and when symptoms appear, which makes some diseases very awkward. Because obviously, if you don't have symptoms, you don't know you have it unless you find out by accident. So that's interesting. We heckin' hit a pandemic. You did! God damn it. All the science. See, that bot command works. If you say heck, you get hecked by stream elements. Okay, so yeah, the WHO is pretty sure it was Lasgard Biotechnic's fault. That's understandable. So, we get this lovely picture of it. This is a micrograph, apparently. This looks very pretty. What it does isn't very pretty, but it looks very pretty. I am not... Glycopro, excuse me. Okay, so it's caused by dietary consumption of PTAE-infected fish. Infectivity rate is 817 per million population. It can incubate, they think, for up to 60 years. That's pretty nuts. I assume that's just based off of other similar diseases, because it hasn't been 60 years. I assume that's what their summation is. And it's diagnosed with a medical colloid. Okay. Interesting. That's those things, again, that get stuck in your brain. Read your neural stuff. Great. All the hex in chat. So the only treatment at the minute, which is another scary thing about this kind of disease, is supportive care. So, making people comfortable, treating some symptoms, but you can't treat the disease, so you're going to die from it anyway. It's kind of depressing. Based on the science of prion diseases, which do have incubation periods measuring in years and decades. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Like, in the context of 2049, I guess it's like an emerging disease, so they're making some assumptions based on, like, the disease type and what they know about it. And now I'm afraid, yeah. Degenerative diseases really scare me. As I'm sure they do a lot of people, because it's just, you gradually decline, and there's no cure for it, so it's just a bit depressing. Little bit depressing. I'd rather not. So 80% die within 3 months of becoming symptomatic, 100% within 6 months. So within 6 months of getting the symptoms and knowing about it, you're dead. You're dead. That's it. You're gone. It's lovely and scary. Thanks, Lasgard. Much appreciate you for doing that. Okay, so it tells us about Sunil and Connie. I assume their things are the same. Pretty sure they are. Yeah, disappeared, declared dead. Yeah, we know about them. It was given the medical name APNS, but the eponymous name was ultimately chosen to avoid confusion with simultaneous description of PTAE as a causative agent. Okay, so that's just how they named it. So it's talking about how it's a TSE caused by prions. There's a lot of science jargon. Normal prion protein plays a role in the long-term upkeep of multiple cellular functions. When the protein misfolds, it creates an infectious form, which is able to convert normal proteins into the abnormal one. Okay, so basically, proteins fold wrong. They make other protein fold wrong. You have bad brain time. Not to be confused with a regenerative disease where you start growing new limbs. That would be preferable. I could do so much more with an extra arm. I swear. Okay, so this is how you get it. So, when misfolded PTAE prions are ingested, they're absorbed from the small intestine into the bloodstream. From there, they travel to the brain and spinal cord, where they begin to convert normal prions into abnormal ones. This creates polymers composed of the infected prion that act as seeds to propagate the conversion of more prions. When they aggregate extracellularly within the nervous system, they form amyloid plaques that disrupt the normal tissue structures. What is that? There are deposits of amyloid beta in the grey matter of the brain. These deposits can be a byproduct of senescence. Large numbers of senile plaques and neurofibrillary tangles are characteristic features of several neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's, and Chiropramuran Disease. My brain is blown. I'm gonna have to trust you guys. Yeah, so there's a lot of science. I imagine the research that's gone into this is ridiculous. Because this reads like science. This reads like a real thing. Which is awesome. So there's the symptoms. The shortest... Oh, I'm highlighting everything now. There's a lot of things to highlight, to read when you highlight. But you don't brush your teeth enough. I don't think it is. So yeah, the shortest documented time elapsed between exposure and onset of symptoms is a little over 4 years, and it's estimated that it can incubate for up to 60 years based on available data from the second wave of variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease cases recorded in the former United Kingdom. What the hell is that? Brush your brain. Yeah, you've heard it here first, guys. You've got to brush your brain twice a day, or you'll get this disease. The variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease is a type of neurodegenerative disease, again, caused by prions with symptoms that include psychiatric problems, behavioral changes, and painful sensations. The spread of it is considered to be primarily due to eating bovine spongiform and encephalopathy, infected beef, bad cow disease beef, with infection also requiring a specific genetic susceptibility. Okay, so, again, things associated with this madnessness. So yeah, at least a brain damage and death in 3 to 6 months. So you can get a whole host of delightful things. Aggression, anxiety, apathy, ataxia, depression, emotional lability, insomnia, loss of memory, poor concentration, paranoid delusion, recklessness, and withdrawal. Oh, good. That's on my agenda for this week. Some patients may also show signs of sensory disturbance such as pain, paresthesia, and dysesthesia? What's this? Abnormal dermal sensation with no apparent physical cause. Commonly occurs in extremities as a tingling, prickling, chilling, burning, or numb sensation. Okay. And dysesthesia is unpleasant, abnormal sense of touch. Okay, so it just really japs your system. Your brain is having a bad time. Everything is sad. Doesn't like it. Okay. Okay, so neurologic symptoms occur at least 2 months after the onset of psychiatric symptoms and include cognitive impairment, difficulty speaking, involuntary spasms, and unsteadiness. Urinary incontinence and akinetic mutism are the late onset signs. So that's peeing. Yeah. Akinetic mutism is patients tending neither to move nor speak. Okay, so you just have a really bad time. That just sounds like Tuesdays. Yeah, it's a normal Tuesday. What's going on? Okay, so this disease is bad. It's basically the article. I've summarized it in a sentence. Disease bad. Talks about the tuna. There's also secondary transmission, which makes sense. You can get the prions in blood, saliva, milk, urine, and feces. And successful transmission has been demonstrated via the nose, mouth, eyes, open wounds, and cuts and abrasions. Oh, that's a problem. You don't even have to eat the tuna to get it. It can be passed in your body fluids. Great. Fantastic. That's even better. I'm really glad. I was hoping it was just the fish, but that's great. Prions are unusually resistant to conventional chemical and physical decontamination methods. Can be transmitted via reused neurosurgical equipment. Oh, it could even... That's great. Oh, RVP, thank you so much for the follow. RVPL, sorry. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying Neurocracy. It's hurting my brain is the science, but I love it. That's all real too. Oh no! No! I'm sorry, you've been bogged for too many months. Oh no. It's all real too if you check the date on the citation. Okay, I'm intrigued. I will try check that in a second. By the time I type out your name, you'll be unbonked. I'm very sorry. My moderator has gone somewhere else. I'm sorry. Shaking my head. This spam, do you know? Honestly. Oh dear. You should be unbonked in a second. Okay, so this is fun. Whoops, yeah, it's okay. Just too many fish. Your fish broke my moderation bot. Okay, so this disease is bad. It's resistant to stuff because it's prions. And some people may be asymptomatic carriers. This disease is just the best disease ever. I'm really glad Lasgard screwed us all over. Fantastic. Oh, good. Probably deserve that. It's okay. I love your emotes. So it's susceptible to everybody. Great. More science about how it works. So much science about how it works. So it's more... Is it saying it's more susceptible to people with certain genotypes? Because it mentioned something about Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease being susceptible, right? I think that's what it's saying. There's a lot of science. But basically it's bad. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, some people might like to get it than others based on genes. But generally it's a bad disease that anybody can transmit. But in a variety of ways. Great. Diagnosis. When the discovery of Cmd and the implications of its spread prompts the need for a rapid screening test, it was found the most efficient diagnosis method for variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease was equally effective for Chiropramuran disease. So many big words. Okay, so the diagnosis. So these two diseases are similar enough that they can use the diagnosis materials. Diagnosis methods to grab them both. That's cool. Devised by University of Dusseldorf. Amazing. That is a lot of people studying there. Holy cow. 22,000 students. How big is this university? Okay, so yeah, it involves fitting colloid electrodes. Again, with the colloids, I get that they're a good thing because medicine, but brainjacking is a problem. Brainjacking is not appreciated. It's a bit of a problem. But fair enough, it's helping at the moment, so, you know, whatever. So, yeah, so at the minute they've only got therapeutic strategies that extend life and provide relief in patients. Supportive care is used, like drugs that are effective for variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, like doxycycline, to prolong the preclinical period, and neurostimulation via colloids, to mitigate psychiatric and behavioral symptoms in the clinical period. These strategies have been known to increase life expectancy by as much as 20%. Well, 20% is something, but when your life expectancy is like 6 months, what's 20% more on 6 months? It's not very much, is it? But I guess it's something. What's doxycycline? I'm intrigued. Sold under the brand name Aidenex, is a medication used to treat Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and its acquired strain. It also appears to delay the clinical period of Chiropramuran disease, though it's not been shown to change the progression. Okay, so it's just a drug used for them. That's fair enough. Neurostimulation is the purposeful modulation of the nervous system's activity using invasive or non-invasive means. Neurostimulation technology serves as the key part of neuroprosthetics, artificial vision, artificial limbs, and brain-computer interfaces, as well as permanent treatment of physical and mental disorders. That's kind of cool. Artificial vision, that sounds really cool. Okay, so neurostimulation is interesting, so using that makes sense for a degenerative brain disease, because you want the brain to do jumping jacks. So it degenerate a little bit less. Okay, that makes sense. So extensive tests with the currently applied treatment for BCJD have had no success against Chiropramuran disease. This treatment involves antibodies specifically coded to a side chain of amino acids exposed by infected prions, but not by prions. Such antibodies can stimulate an immune response to the abnormal prions and leave normal proteins intact, but Cmd prions have been found to expose no amino acid side chain. Okay. Likely due to the cross-species transmission. Okay, so this disease is annoying because it does not have this side chain that makes it different. So the treatment doesn't work because it can't target them. Again, this disease is a massive pile of poo. Lascard, what have you done? Oh god. And research has been hampered because the entire stock was destroyed. Because, understandably, they were like, we should probably kill these fish and burn them. But, it probably would be useful for research. I see that. Basically, we're creating a lot of Johnny LaForge. Oh no. Yeah, it's a problem. Okay, so they're still obviously trying to figure out how to fix it. Animal trials have indicated this therapeutic strategy is successful in reversing the symptomatic stage of CMD, though there's some concern regarding long-term effects. Perhaps the research involving eliminating the total number of prion molecules in cells. Early knockout studies have shown that eliminating those alongside its infectious isoform can disrupt multiple cellular functions after an extended period of latency. So they're doing some interesting studies that aren't necessarily the best, but it's all they've got. So that's fair enough. Okay. The Cmd Phobia. Well, isn't that just common sense? To be scared of this horrifying disease? It is defined as the unwarranted fear of getting infected with Chiropramuran disease, or the fear that such an infection has already occurred despite evidence to the contrary. Various studies have described Cmd Phobia, more so than Cmd itself, as a direct motivation for the establishment of G6 as a biosecurity network. Okay, so that's interesting. So, okay, so G6 obviously being the UN massive worldwide biosecurity thing for like monitoring public health and all that jazz. That's being helped forward because of this disease, because obviously everybody's scared about getting ill with it. So you want colloids, you want all this stuff to identify it. That's interesting. Some people are benefiting from this. That's really interesting. I like that. I like that that's a thing. Okay, I will put my thoughts to rest on that for a second. So which was the citation for that thing? The prion thing. Which one was it? Where has it gone? I wanted to look at it. 4. Oh, 4. Icosideas, a kiss for prion, new implications for oral transmissibility. I'd actually go there. 4 and 5. Silent prions and covert prion transmission. Did you read all of the science to get this? Because that must have taken a while. Yeah, no, that just takes me to the article. That's a lot of reading. That's a crap ton of reading. Holy cow. Amazing. Go have a rest, goddammit. You've read too much. Okay, so some other things will have changed, presumably, now. So, yeah, view changes. What's changed? So, has anything changed into here? No, nothing's changed in there. Let's go random articles and see what's changed. That's the one we were on, Chiropramuran Disease. Omnipedia. Is Omnipedia changed at all? Yet. Nope. Omnipedia article is not changed. That's the one we were just on. Sorry, this music is chill. Okay, yes. Sorry, okay, I remember now. So, this is the person that was mentioned in Zhu's article. As being the AI person who, eventually left, and that is now... It helped make the AI network for... which eventually turned into G6. And then they left the company and are in an undisclosed location campaigning against G6. So I'm intrigued to know what they're about. What are they about? Efwa? I hope I'm saying your name right. We're gonna look into you. We're gonna give you a cheeky look. Okay. So again, I'm gonna be going through this. Well, it's a big article. Pretty thoroughly because this is the episode that's come out today, and I haven't read it yet. So I'm intrigued. I've had a skim before stream. Okay. So Efwa is a Ghanaian artificial intelligence researcher, software engineer, and an activist. So this is just about artificial intelligence. Okay. If you don't know what artificial intelligence is, this is it. Intelligence demonstrated by machines, basically. So what does it say about Ghana? The country on the Gulf of Guinea, the Atlantic Ocean, in the sub-region of West Africa. Population approximately 34 million people are in Ghana in 2049. Holy cow, that's a lot of people. I have no idea what it is now. But 34 million is quite a few. It spans a variety of ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. Ghana's economic prosperity, democratic political system, and emerging technology hub have made it a regional power in Africa. Good for Ghana. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. She's found about artificial intelligence. She's in this tech hub. Makes sense. Okay, born in Cape Coast, she started working at Google's AI Center in Accra in 2028 with a focus on natural language processing. What the hell is natural language processing? This is going to be a lot of me going, what is this? I don't know very much about AI. My partner's very interested in it, but I don't know any terms or anything. So NLP is a subfield of linguistics, computer science, information engineering, and artificial intelligence concerned with the interactions between computers and human languages. Challenges in NLP frequently involve speech recognition, data processing, and natural language understanding and generation. Okay, so talking to computers is a very, in a nutshell, summary of that, I think. Okay. In 2032, she pioneered a new line of environment-friendly artificial neural networks, these ANNs, based on the Pacotti architecture. These are the things she ends up working with Zhu for. So to recap, the ANNs are computer systems that are inspired by, but not necessarily identical to, the biological neural networks that constitute animal brains. So they sound pretty cool. Sounds pretty complex. And they learn to perform tasks by considering examples, generally without being programmed. That's pretty cool. She seems pretty clever. So yeah, Pacotti architecture is based on a description by American technologist and author Sheldon Pacotti. I saw... Is it Pacotti to do with, Is it Deus Ex that to do with... I saw you tweeted it. I hadn't heard who they were. Deus Ex, that's it. Yeah. I think that's a nice little touch there. So yeah, they did this architecture thing for the AI, so that's pretty cool. So she left Google in 2034 and joined Zhu, like we learned in their article. You're correct. Yay! I read sometimes. Woo! Yeah, she led the team of AI researchers and developers. He's a writer on one of my favorite video games and helped a lot with this article. Oh, that's awesome! That's really cool that they did that. That's very nice of them. I like it. That's pretty gosh darn cool. Okay, so her team created the ecosystem of the ANNs for the this project, which is the thing that turned into G6. But it's rolled into G6. Yeah, so it was the Global Public Health Intelligence Network. It was an electronic public health early warning system to be developed as part of the WHO's Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network. So many acronyms. Yeah, they rolled that into G6 when the 2.0 came out. So, I feel like when I want to know a bit more about 2.0, I'm intrigued by what 2.0 changes, because that came out in 2040, and again 2040, a lot of stuff happens in 2040. A lot of stuff happened in 2040. 9 years ago in this article. So in October 2040, she left Zhu and distanced herself from the project, believing it had drifted too far from its original design goals. That's what the article says anyway. In May 2045, she was approached by a whistleblower with access to sensitive information related to G6 they wished to share. When she refused to reveal the identity of the whistleblower to Chinese authorities, she was met with harassment and death threats. Delightful. Hooray, thank you. Thank you, China, again, for being delightful. In the game context. In August 2045, she left London City and returned to Ghana, where she currently campaigns against G6 from an undisclosed location. Again, what did she learn? Why did she leave? I want to know why she left Zhu. And why she has to hide. She obviously found out something important. Missed my bonking duties. It's okay, it's only 30 seconds of ambient spamming emotes. It's okay. Ambients are allowed to do that, it's alright. Okay, so we got a bit about her early life. She's a member of the Fante ethnic group. They're a subgroup of the Akan people, along with the Ashantis, the Akwapem, the Akyem, and others. Thanks. All the fish, no! They're the cause of all of this. Lasgard's fish. Mods get to use as many emotes as they want, I'm pretty sure, so it's a bit of a flex now. The Fante subgroup is mainly gathered in the central coastal region of Ghana, with some also in Ivory Coast. Currently the number at 4 million. Okay, so that's just part of an ethnic group, that's interesting. That was their message in case you're curious. Thank you, I appreciate the message. She's the youngest of 3 children. Kofi, a Taurus guy. I assume this is her dad's, and Abina. She had her education at Wesley Girls High School for her ordinary and advanced level certificates. Okay, so she did school, that's a thing she did. When schools in Ghana were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I see, it's all relevant. She was kept home where she started watching YouTube videos on artificial intelligence. She had taken an interest in the field after playing Deus Ex on her brother's computer and becoming fascinated with the game's depiction of AI. I love it. I love this cheeky lore. I love it. That's amazing. What does it say about YouTube? As of 2049, more than 5,000 hours of video content are uploaded every minute. That's quite a lot of video. Quite a lot of video. Amazing. YouTube still exists, so it's okay. She did a hack in school. She did do a hack in school. It probably explains why she's clever. So, okay, so she completed an undergraduate program in computer science. In 2028, she was accepted to the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, do an African Master in Machine Intelligence. Okay, provides training in deep learning and its applications. Deep learning is part of a broader family of machine learning methods based on artificial neural networks. Deep learning architecture use multiple layers to progressively extract higher level features from raw input, have been applied to a wide range of fields where they have often produced results superior to human experts. Okay, that's interesting. References, yeah. She did the hacking school. Okay. She's got a long article, that means she's important or she's gonna die. Either one of these could be true, we don't know. She's not dead yet. Okay, so in July she joined Google's AI Center. Okay, she collaborated with various product teams to implement algorithms, build prototypes, and run experiments. She was hired as a software engineer at the AI Center. Work on applications related to natural language processing for Google Translate to more precisely capture and accommodate the 2,000 languages spoken in Africa. There are 2,000 languages spoken in Africa? That's a lot of languages. Holy cow. Okay. So, in 2049, Africa is the world's second largest and second most populous continent, being behind Asia in both categories. Oh wow. Containing 55 fully recognized sovereign states and 11 territories, Africa hosts a large diversity of ethnicities, cultures, and languages. Central Eastern Africa is in particular is widely accepted as the place of origin of humans, evidenced by the discovery of earliest hominids. Okay, Africa's a big deal. Africa, big deal. Big continent. Guess it's already a big deal in a big continent, but you know what I mean. So she did a bunch of stuff for Google. He came across a 2018 article written by Sheldon Picotti. There we go. I love it. Whose work she was exploring after learning he was one of the lead writers on Deus Ex. I like that he's got his own little bit here. That's great. That's amazing. The article described a theoretical design principle for artificial neural networks based on two fundamental ways of understanding information, which Picotti labeled as decomposition and categorization. After showing the article to SIS, he gave Manqua Krauss the go-ahead to work on a TensorFlow build of the ANN design alongside Picotti, with whom she regularly consulted after starting a correspondence. What is TensorFlow? Open source software library for data flow and differentiable programming across a range of tasks. It's a symbolic math library. It is used for deep learning applications. Okay, interesting. Made by Google. I had no idea that existed. Wakanda for... Hell yeah. The first iteration of Picotti's design, named the Picotti architecture, demonstrated its potential for the efficient application of dynamic classification rules while accounting for exceptions and contextual interpretations, even after being trained on relatively limited text corpora. What is that? In linguistics, a corpus, plural corpora, is a language resource consisting of a large and structured set of text, usually stored and processed electronically. They're used for statistical analysis and hypothesis testing, checking occurrences or validating linguistic rules within a specific language territory, and natural language processing. Okay, so it's just a tool feeding info to the AI. That's what you think so far. I goddamn love this. I like this episode. It is good. I get more information about this lady who I'm interested in. After I've gone through it, I have my notes from the last few episodes that I wrote at the time. I read them first, which I'm going to go through. I like this lady's interesting. I want to know more about her. So I'm glad we get more. Thank you, Joel. And yeah, we get more information. There's a new person added who's being killed, which I was not expecting. It feels like all the other articles that have been written. It feels real. It feels like I'm reading Wikipedia. Well, Omnipedia, obviously. Like, it's great. I really enjoy this game. I love it so much. It's awesome. And I can't wait for the full thing. So I can debate people. Come at me. I want to fight somebody in the Discord about what I think. It's great. I love it. A lot of reading when you read it out loud. My face is slowly falling apart. But that's fine. I should talk more. My mouth is out of practice at talking, apparently. But there's lots of little, like, nods to stuff. It's just great. Are you picking fights? Well, nobody picked a fight with me in the Discord yet. I want more people to pick fights with me. You can see it if you go in the Discord. No pressure. But, yeah, I wrote quite a bit the first time I dove into it. I felt really bad. So... Gideon enjoying this. It's a bit surreal to have something we've been working on so me validate. Aww, I'm really glad you like it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's kind of the main goal. But yeah, you guys have done a really cool thing. So I bow down to your genius again. It's so good. I love it. Oh god. Okay. More science. I'm gonna try to summarize it a little bit. Your theory done was one of the best outcomes I could have ever... Well, I mean, at least it wasn't that annoying, because I had to post it in multiple posts because of Discord's character limit. I can't remember how many characters it was. It was something stupid. I just read it and I was like, I've got to get in on this. Thanks, Triple. But yeah, so I'll show you my notes. Thanks, Hexon. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'll show you my notes after I've gone through this, because I was suspicious of somebody else, and I still am to a degree. A little bit less because we found out more about Lasgard being a jerk. But I'll show you how my theories have developed a little bit. We get to vote on the colour. Maybe. I don't know if I can trust you guys. Not after Ray put a bunch of points at me playing FNAF in Horror Week. I don't want to play FNAF, but I've shot myself in the foot now, so. But yeah, anyway. This is interesting. I've written too much about it. Okay. So they did this artificial neural network. Okay, when testing it on a localized Google Translate backend, she found it achieved more accurate results by directly translating to the target language instead of first translating to English as an intermediate step. Okay, so there's just the AI doing its thing. Trust in me? No. I can't trust you guys, I'm sorry. Ray will probably suggest Rainbow and then pour like 50 billion influence points into it or whatever. I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll do it. We'll see. Thanks. I appreciate the heck no. Oh god. Sound alerts are amazing, I love them. Always the risk this could turn into the Boy McBoat face of hair. That is true. And I would like my family not to completely ostracize me just yet. It needs to be a process, not just all at once. So we'll see what happens. Oh god. Wear a hat. I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna hide my hair from my family, am I, by just wearing a hat? My family are very traditional. You have to take your hat off when you're at the table because etiquette. Because reasons. So I wouldn't be able to get away with it. A beanie. I don't think I'd suit a beanie. I don't think I would. I don't know. I need my hair cut, so I'm gonna start wearing a hat anyway, because that's why I'm messing with my hair. Anyway, I need to concentrate on the game, not talk about my hair. It'll make me play with it more. I'm really trying not to. Okay. So, more iterations resulted in the development of a differentiable neural computer. That sounds important. It's a memory-augmented artificial neural network, which is recurrent in its implementation. They're usually trained to perform complex, structured tasks, addressing big data and deep learning that require aspects of abstraction. Big brain computer. Got it. Murder and hair. Great stream. I'm glad you liked the stream. I'm allergic to hats. Oh no. That would be a problem. Oh, my brain. Okay. I've lost my place now. Okay, yeah. With a base processing layer and working memory module capable of deep integration of wide-ranging association and insights, which neuroscientists have likened to the lateral connections between sensory areas in the cerebral cortex. Oh my god, the science! She did clever things with science. Is what I'm gathering from this. She submitted a paper on the Picotti architecture. During her oral presentation, she called the Picotti architecture a leap forward in the democratization of AI, which should no longer be the sole domain of commercial funding of large research organizations and companies with access to big data sets and computing infrastructure. Cool, so she sounds cool. She sounds like she's all about the non-capitalism aspects of AI, which is great. Oop, dropped my pencil. Paper was well received. Which led to the various publications claiming the birth of artificial general intelligence. That's the one where they're just really good. They're like people, right? Isn't it general intelligence? Hypothetical intelligence of a machine that has the capacity to understand or learn any intellectual task a human being can. Yes, that's it. While a common topic in AI research and future studies, the notion of AGI remains a contentious issue with many debates regarding its progress and feasibility. Yeah, I remember now. I think I'm pretty sure I've heard of that before. Wasn't it part of like, what was the game called? I've forgotten its name. I can't have forgotten its name. Detroit Becoming Human, that's it. Wasn't that kind of what they did? Generally good at most tasks rather than just really good at chess. That's it, yeah, they're like more like people. They're more like, jack of all trades rather than just, I can do this one thing really well and nothing else. Thank you, Ray. She pushed back against such claims, stating they contributed to a harmful culture that overpromises what AI can do. Okay, so Google switched to their architecture. When she asked for the Picotti architecture to be released under an open source license, she learned Google was planning on limiting access via its own cloud solutions and a custom application programming interface. He argued this defeated the purpose of the architecture, citing concerns of accessibility and replicable computer science. Okay, so she wanted it free for everybody. Google was like, nah. I think we should just use it, and everyone else can suck it. Which, yeah, just kind of defeat the point of that, I think. But, you know. Okay, on November 25th, Google issued a press release which profiled Jurjen Albrecht, a fellow engineer at the AI Center who had assisted her with implementations of the architecture, as the driving mind behind its development. Oh, Google. Google, are you doing a sexism? Is Jurjen a male name? I don't even know. Kind of sounds like it. In addition, the press release included a photo of Amanda Kraus, which was found to have been edited to make her skin tone appear lighter. Oh boy. Okay, this is great. Leading to accusations that Google was erasing her work and her blackness. Google, what the frick are you doing? Wow. Amazing. Okay, so Google credited her work to somebody else and whitewashed her. Nice. Nice work, Google. Very well done. Okay. We have not fixed racism yet. In 2049. I got it. Amazing. Oh dear. That's a big oof. That's a pretty big oof. Google apologized for the unfortunate error. Nice. Wasn't an error though, was it? You just got caught. Shaking my head, Google. What are you doing? It is a bit awkward, isn't it? Like, did you think nobody would notice? Like, what? Okay. In December, Picotti told Amanda Kraus he'd been contacted by Google to feature in the November press release as the inventor of the Picotti architecture, which he had declined. Also revealed Google had attempted to acquire the intellectual property rights to the design in his 2018 article, prompting him to release it to the public domain. So everyone's trying to undermine them. That's kind of annoying. On December 16th, she put her name to a public statement from Google employees calling out the company's treatment of her as part of an ongoing campaign to roll back its diversity and inclusion initiatives in order to avoid a backlash from the far right. Ooh, what does it say about the far right? My fave people. Far right politics are politics on the right endpoint of the left-right political spectrum, particularly in terms of extreme nationalism, nativist ideologies, and authoritarian tendencies. The term is used to describe Nazism, fascism, and other ideologies that feature ultra-nationalist, misogynist, xenophobic, racist, or reactionary views. Far-right politics often lead to organized oppression and violence. Okay. So, yeah, the far-right still exists. I get it. I guess they have to exist, but I don't want them to. I don't know if you've gathered anything I've ever said, or this in the background. Not quite far-right on the political spectrum. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. So, she accuses Google of racism, basically. Okay. In January, she was contacted by Zhu, like we learnt before, who wanted to make a sustainable environment-friendly model for AI. Which is nice. When she accepted the offer, Google attempted to block her from decamping to a rival by seeking a temporary restraining order. Google's legal department argued that she was in violation of her non-compete agreement, having been privy to trade secrets that would give Zhu Pao an unfair advantage. Google, you're being a trash pile in this, I swear. Google declined to file suit after her lawyers countered that, with Picotti's article in the public domain and TensorFlow's status as open source software, she would not be drawing on any proprietary information at Zhu Pao. Okay, so she managed to escape the clutches of evil Google. You're a good company, yeah. Hooray. Waving my little flag that I don't have. It's my pencil. Pretend this is a flag. Woo! Okay, so she moved to Zhu Pao. She moved to London. She created an AI innovation center in the Shard, which is Zhu Pao's building. The Google changed its licensing terms for TensorFlow. She elected to rework her model for the Bocotti architecture using Zhu Pao's Drupal-based APIs, which she found more intuitive. So she was just like, screw you, Google, I'm using a different thing. Also. Wow, she did so much stuff with this Bocotti stuff. Jesus. Okay. So in 2034, in June, they began a life cycle assessment study to determine the Bocotti architecture's energy consumption and corresponding carbon footprint when deployed at scale. What is a life cycle assessment? I have no science brain. The methodology for assessing environmental impacts associated with all the stages of the life cycle of a commercial product, process, or service. LCA studies typically involve a thorough inventory of the energy and materials required across the industry value chain or to calculate the corresponding emissions to the environment. Okay, so they were just like, hey, is it environmentally friendly to make this this cool AI boy? Got it. I think. She refined her models using Zhu Pao's IT solutions. She noticed the Bocotti architecture's inference stage saw an unexpected decrease in efficiency, even while its development pipeline was being slimmed down for the LCA study. She eventually discovered Bocotti architecture was coming up with more efficient ways of completing tasks. Based on information that corresponded to the developer comments present in its algorithms. Okay. So it was reading the developer comments in its own program? Excuse me? That's right? Comment is a program or readable explanation or annotation in the source code of a computer program that are added with the purpose of making the code easier for humans to understand, generally ignored by compilers and interpreters. Yeah, that's nuts. Like, what? What? It reads its own notes about its own program. That's... what? That's wild. How in the... what? Okay, so yeah, this AI is like a learning AI. It is learning literally about itself. From itself. To make itself better than the developers could have made it in their own comments. What the hell? That's a bit scary. That's really cool. I love it. Good AI. I want to give the AI head pats. They did a good job. Yeah, these comments are generally ignored by ANN compilers and interpreters as they're meant to make code easier for humans to understand, but the Bocotti architecture had understood them as instructions that helped perform better. That's nuts. That's so cool. Oh wow, okay. So in November, she released her work on the architecture under an open source license, published a paper referring to her discovery as a mixed software engineering paradigm, where both humans and AI systems get the best of both worlds. Probably should just stop commenting my code right now. You never know what could be reading your code in your code. You're like, you're talking shit about the program, and the program's like, I read that, you little... That would be pretty funny. I assume that's not how you write notes, but I don't know. Oh dear. Okay, so she watched... This concept was first introduced by Mike Cook, whose AI-focused talk she watched in 2020. So Mike Cook is presumably a real person. British artificial intelligence researcher, game designer, activist, and the creator of Angelina, a legacy AI that designed its own games based on learning from the designs of others. Okay, another big brain person is around. Or was around. Okay, that's really interesting. After her paper was cited as an example of recursive self-improvement, Amanka Krauss argued the Bocotti architecture was instead demonstrating a form of intentionality in its NLP module, facilitated by the standardized formats used for developer comments by Zhu Pao software engineers. Okay. Mike Cook is very real. He also helped me figure out the AI aspects of Neurocracy. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Hell yeah, featuring all the cool people in the articles. I love it. I can see... I was going to say, are you like an AI expert or did you have some help? Because... otherwise, you'd be like an expert in everything, and that would be crazy. Not completely out of, you know, not completely unexpected, but it could be a thing. Okay, so yeah, recursive improvement is what it sounds like, so it can make itself better without humans making it better. Okay, I get that. That's cool. Elon Musk, you little shit. Elon Musk is an engineer, industrial designer, technology entrepreneur, and philanthropist, if you didn't know. The founder of SpaceX, co-founder of Neuralink and OpenAI, and the product architect of Tesla Inc. Born in South Africa, he holds Canadian citizenship. Okay, yeah. So Elon Musk does exist. If you weren't aware, Elon Musk exists. Okay, so when the RSI comparison made headlines in December 2034, Elon Musk threatened a lawsuit against Xu Pao and Emmanuel Kraus, having summoned an existential threat to the survival of the human race. Claiming an AI system with RSI capabilities could potentially lead to an unavoidable singularity. Singularity doesn't mean a bad thing. Technological singularity is a hypothetical point in time at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible. Okay. The most popular version of the hypothesis, called intelligence explosion, holds that an intelligent agent will eventually enter a runaway reaction of self-improvement cycles, resulting in a powerful superintelligence that far surpasses all human intelligence. I've heard that before. I didn't know it was called the technological singularity, but I've heard that idea before because it's a scary idea. I don't have a straw, don't mind me. As a Canadian, I apologize for Elon Musk. It's okay. It's not your fault. He's interesting. That's all I have to say about him at this time. He's interesting. But my therapist told me Elon isn't real and Elon can't hurt me. Oh, Ray, your therapist lied to you? Get a better therapist. I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can say to that. Oh, dear God. Okay, so Elon Musk had a paddy because he thought they'd created Skynet. Is that the thing from my brain has stopped working. There's too much science. You know what I mean. Terminator. My brain was telling me Transformers. I'm like, that's not Transformers. Terminator. I've never seen Terminator. Is it Skynet? That's the big bad AI that wants to kill everybody, right? I think. I don't know. I've never watched it because it would scare me. Probably too much. I assume the lawsuit didn't go through. In a public statement, Xu came out in support of Banco Kraus and accused both Google and Musk of attempting to suppress the Pacotti architecture because it threatens their AI livelihoods, which they see as a question of access to computational resources for training huge models on tons of data. Okay, that's fine. I think that's officially known as Musk rejection therapy. Very specialized field of therapy, didn't you know? The Terminator also inspired some Neurocracy things. That makes sense. I love it. I love that there's these little bits in it. Ah, I love it so much. Composure. Okay, we're getting through this. Okay. When the LCA study was concluded, Emmanuel Kraus has shown the Pacotti architecture would reduce corresponding CO2 by 70% compared to standard AI. That's really good. I like that. Subsequent to this, Xu announced all of Xu Pao's AI and data services would be switched over to the Pacotti architecture. An effort that was completed in 2037. That's a point. Part of Xu's profile, his article. Well, the entire feeling of the article, I obviously skimmed it, is that he's a philanthropist. He really likes the environment and cares about people. So he did seem to be a good guy. This is like another example of that. Like he was like, oh yeah, environment, let's do that. Again, Omnipedia was partly funded by Xu Pao, which Zhu Xiaoyong is the head of, so that could be a bit of bias, but that's the feeling you get at the minute anyway. You gotta watch out for that bias. The bias is probably around. Yeah, okay, so he wanted everything to be squeaky clean, which is cool. They wrote an open letter to promote the architecture's adoption as international standard, which makes sense. Okay. In 2036, Xu announced a collaborative project between Emmanuel Kraus's team in London and Endoptic, which is the neurotech company that was working on Colloids. After successfully completing human trials for its new line of implantable multi-electrode arrays, Endoptic was looking to upgrade the algorithms it was using for medical neurostimulation. Over the following months, Emmanuel Kraus's team worked with Endoptic software engineers to implement the Pacotti architecture for pattern recognition approaches to localizing neural targets and identifying event-related potentials. What's an event-related potential? What is it? The measured brain response that is a direct result of a specific sensory, cognitive, or motor event. More formally, it is any stereotyped electrophysiological response to a stimulus. ERPs are measured by means of electroencephalography. Okay, so thing happened to you, brain have response. That is ERP, right? Is that what that means? Brain response is a direct result of a specific sensory, cognitive, or motor event. Yeah, it's a response to a stimulus, I think, is what that's saying, right? So would that be like, I don't know, thing is hot, brain have ERP, which big hand move away from hot thing? Kind of. And that's really, that might be really simplified. And I assume it's also on like a smaller level than that. But that's interesting, okay. Okay, because yeah, you want to know what the brain signal looks like when the brain is going to be making the person do the thing. That you can look at that and go, huh, there's something weird with that, I assume. You got it. Yay! Okay. So much science, my brain hurts. When Zhu unveiled Endoptic's MEA design as the first neural colloid in October 2036, he credited Amanka Krauss with having provided the leaps forward in AI and software design needed to make colloids work. Okay, so she was pretty important in the colloids being a thing. Which makes me even more suspicious that something very wrong happened with them if she left G6 and went to an undisclosed location and started doing her activism against them. Okay. But she knows how it works, and she seems to be very much about ethics, as we've seen from like her other stuff. Like, she wanted it to be open source, and she, you know, environmentally friendly and all that, which generally means somebody's a good person. Might be a bit of a generalization, but... Okay, cool. So, in June 2039, she worked with Endoptic a second time for the design of a diagnostic colloid that can detect infectious prions in brain tissue. Thanks for the hex triple. Zhu had started the project out of concern over the outbreak of PTAE. Okay, so yeah, colloids to help with detecting that stuff. Reports PTAE could be transmitted to humans. Zhu asked Amanka Krauss to apply the Picotti architecture to a colloid-compatible chemical nanosensor designed by Colloids. That's the person who disappeared. For the early detection of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and its acquired variant. By December, Amanka Krauss had helped to increase the accuracy of the nanosensor so it could detect prions and prion-related breakdown products even when initially present at only 1 part in 100 billion. Wait, so with her super fancy AI knowledge, she could look at brain, and if 1 part in 100 billion is a diseased one, that's ridiculous. That is heck. What? 1 part in 100... I can't even, like, fathom 100 billion. That's a lot of billion. That's a pretty big number. That's pretty ridiculous. Okay. I like it. She's pretty clever. I got it. Alright. So now stuff about G6. We're almost at the end of this article. This article's really big, but I love it. I'm probably gonna have to reread it in my own time just to, like, fully process everything that's going on. It's cool. That's just how good she is. She is awesome. She is a very good bab. Okay. So, after the CMD pandemic was declared contained on April 19th, 2040, she joined the GPIN 2.0 project, being blueprinted by Spencer Hagen, my guy, and Sunil Karyappa for Zhupao as part of a cooperative strategy between Chinese Communist Party and the WHO. Have we even read... did I read Spencer Hagen's thing? I don't know if I did. Because he is a boy I'm a little bit suspicious on. So yeah, he's an entrepreneur, analysis systems engineer, and chief technology officer of Zhupao, a position he has held since 2040. He's known for being closely involved with the development of neural colloids and G6, having pioneered or funded the technologies that underlie both. He's the guy who's like head of Endoptic, who make the neural colloids, which is why I'm a little bit suspicious. But that's just me. Like detecting 4 planets randomly in our galaxy, which is roughly 400 billion systems. Holy cow, yeah, that's quite big then. That's a little big. The number, I mean. Detecting that in that is finding a needle in a massive haystack. That's amazing. She's such a clever bab. Don't mind the squeaks of a partner in the corner of the room. On the squeaky chair. Just to explain what that noise is sometimes. Okay, so... yeah, so Zhu wanted to include the Picotti architecture in the project because it's making this new G6 thing. We wanted a standard for biosecurity and health informatics. So, biosecurity, if you hadn't figured out already, is the monitoring and interpretation of data regarding biological and chemical threats. Previously defined as an aspect of civil defense related to bioterrorism, biosecurity currently encompasses every preventative measure designed to reduce the risk of inadvertent or intentional transmission of infectious pathogens in human and non-human populations. Basically, stop doing the disease thing. I am biopolice. Is how I interpreted that. So yeah, she was part of that. On May 7th, she took part in a conference organised by Zhu Pao, where Zhu introduced her alongside Hagen and Cariappa as the team leads on the project. On May 10th, the National Health Commission provided her team with restricted login credentials to the Bian Kui public health system as part of a CCP mandate to emulate its software and A&N components for GPIN 2.0. Okay, I don't know what this health system is. I assume it's just in China. Intersectoral healthcare network created in 2040 to provide mainland China with standardized practices for health information exchange services. Partially based on the technological underpinnings of the social credit system. Oh, we love the social credit system. Okay, yeah, it's just the health stuff. Big health stuff thing. Okay. Okay. When she objected to the mandate, Zhu assured her that over 80% of the healthcare system was already comprised of Zhu Pao's licensed IT solutions, including the ANNs running Picotti architecture. Okay. So she had her doubts about it, but Zhu was like, no, it's fine. That's okay. By September, she and her team had developed the first GPIN 2.0 testbed as a modular infranet equipped with an ecosystem of ANNs to process and standardize external databases, translate across 2,100 different languages and dialects, and design inference algorithms for data analysis. Holy cow. That's a lot of stuff that happened. Okay. So, they made the test bed, which is, yeah, a platform for conducting testing of stuff. Yeah, that made sense. Infranet's internal internet, right? An infranet is a design principle for packet-based telecommunication networks and blockchains. Infranets are typically developed using a top-down architecture to create protocols and modules that meet specific requirements, whereas bottom-up networking principles are applied in accordance with protocols and modules that are already provided. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused by that. I was thinking intranet. This is an infranet. This is completely different. Well, oh, they made an intranet. That's nice. They got a little portal for the healthcare stuff. I like it. Okay, so stuff to do with telecommunications. Got it. Alright. Using a bunch of the artificial neural networks. Okay. They did some science with the science stuff. On September 3rd, she joined Zhu, Hagen, and Cariappa as they presented it to an audience of officials from the Chinese Communist Party, and who's that again? The National Health Commission, who travelled to London City. On September 5th, those guys in the Public Health Agency of Canada announced a series of pilot programs to introduce GP to several Chinese provinces and in Toronto, Canada. Which is where they want the what was happening in Canada? They wanted, to establish, wasn't it the SEZ that they were trying to establish in Toronto? Because they were worried, and people were protesting because they were worried that it was going to be, including the G6. It's interesting that it's Toronto that they're including. I'm pretty sure I remember that right. I think. Got a lot of things happening in September. On September 20th, she began work on a new LCA study for the pilot program in China. Only a limited number of ANNs swapped out for models using the Bocotti architecture. She had not expected a significant drop in projected emissions, but instead she found an alarming climb that had started 2 weeks earlier. Macrocrowd suspected the GPIN 2.0 and ANNs were being trained on datasets that far outweighed their operational requirements, thereby negating the purpose of applying the Bocotti architecture. Another possible explanation was that the inference cost of running the ANNs at scale was higher than anticipated, though she considered this to be unlikely. Okay, so they were using them wrong, basically. They were giving them datasets that are too much for them, which is bad. Did you do? Okay, sweet. Okay, so they were basically using her stuff wrong. Okay, interesting. When her login credentials to the public health system expired and the National Health Commission did not respond to her request to renew them, Manfred Krauss reached out to Zhu, who claimed he was being stonewalled as well. She then alerted Cariappa to her discovery, who suggested the use of a security exploit in GPIN 2.0's blockchain that he had been planning to patch out before his own login had expired. Using the exploit, Manfred Krauss and Cariappa were able to identify the datasets that GPIN 2.0 was being trained on for the pilot program. Oh, so they were being locked out of everything. That's really interesting. They found it was being used to process close to 31 million databases that originated from a wide variety of sources, both Chinese and international. That's quite a few databases. That might be a bit too many. The reconstructed file name showed references to data formats used by Alibaba, Amazon, Apple, Baidu, Facebook, Google, Huawei, Match Group, Microsoft, including its US military-operated war cloud. There's a war cloud? What? A war cloud? Oh my god, they made a cloud for the US military. That's fantastic. And scary. Tencent, Twitter, Weibo, and other social media data companies. Additional file names show databases for surveillance systems and companies, such as Aegis, Cambridge Analytica, NSO Group, and Palantir Technologies, as well as from financial services and insurance companies, such as Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Holy crap. JP Morgan Chase and United Health Group. An angry cloud that glares at people. That is a mood. That makes sense, yeah. And like looks at their oil and goes, hey guys, yeah, see you've got some oil there. I would like that. Some of the databases overlapped with each other, implying they'd been shared or scraped, and that the ANNs were being trained on partially redundant data. So they were really using this wrong. Data scraping. A technique which a computer program extracts data from human-readable output coming from another program. While scraping can be done manually by a software user, the term typically refers to automated processes implemented using bots and algorithms. It's a form of copying in which specific data is gathered into a central local database for later retrieval. Okay. That kind of makes sense. I like the emo, that's cute. Okay, so they found that their AI stuff was being used very, very wrong. Amanka Krauss and Cariappa also uncovered a set of CCP databases that contained elaborate records from the social credit system, as well as surveillance data gathered from various Liu Ji campaigns, and the detention of the Uyghurs and other minorities in the Xinjiang concentration camps. Okay, there's quite a few things that I want to read. I think I know what this is. The social credit system was a standardized national reputation system developed by the Chinese Communist Party. It officially went online in 2020. It was designed to assess the economic and social standing of individual citizens and businesses through the application of data science. It was replaced by the Bianque public health system. Okay, yeah, that's the Black Mirror episode that became real life. I remember now. I remember that. It's pretty goddamn scary. Okay. Surveillance data gathered from Liu Ji. Oh, enforced disappearance. Oh, good. That sounds great. Was a custodial system in China for secret, prolonged, incommunicado detention that was mainly targeted at lawyers, journalists, and human rights defenders. It replaced the extra-legal Shuanghui judicial system for members of the Chinese Communist Party. Estimate over 1 million people have died under it. Oh, that's also a great thing. China looks a bit suspect to me. In 2049, I am gonna say China looks to be a little bit dodgy in 2049. Can't say about present day, but 2049, it's having a problem. And these were the ethnic minorities they were putting in concentration camps. Which is good. Cool. Amazing. Other file names indicated the Jeepin 2.0 was being trained on neurobehavioral data gathered by Colloids. See, they're monitoring the implants. I told you it was going to be a thing. Given its modular ease of use design, supplementing Jeepin 2.0 with neurobehavioral data could have been accomplished with minimal non-technical effort. Cariappa believed the CCP to be responsible and suggested they inform Zhu. But considering how they'd found out about the mass data collection, Amanqua Kraus was reluctant to contact him. Okay. On September 25th, Zhu announced the Jeepin 2.0 pilot programs in mainland China had been integrated with colloids, which were being administered to Chinese citizens by the National Health Commission. Crediting both Endoptic and Amanqua Kraus' team with their development, Zhu revealed the colloids were equipped with the necessary hardware to support both Chiropramuran Disease specific nanosensors and a means of neurometric identification, made possible by the Bacotti architecture. That sounds like Zhu went behind their backs a little bit. Because that wasn't the plan. If I'm reading this right, I might not be. But they were using the login credentials, they were using them to test as a test bed for the stuff. They were like starting to to get it up and running. The biosecurity stuff. But then they've gone and said, hey, it's going to be integrated with colloids and you've got to have them. Plot twist, I know. Okay. Interesting. I assume neurometric identification is what I think it is. Also known as neuro ID and brainprint recognition, comprise the practices by which an individual's identity is positively determined using an electrocorticographic scan, typically obtained via a neural colloid. Based on the Cerebra protocol, neurometrics have been demonstrated to provide 100% identification accuracy. Okay, so it's just like tracking. It's, I know who you are, and you can't do all about it. Great. Great, everybody in China, grab one of these. They're fantastic fun. Audio. So, on the next day, she issued a statement clarifying her team had not been involved with the development of the colloids, nor has she been made aware of their integration with the pilot programs. On September 28th, she abruptly announced she'd reached an agreement with Zhu to terminate her contract. Okay, so that's why she left. Because they took her stuff and ran off with it and did all this really creepy stuff. And she was like, nah, that's not what I wanted. What you doing? Okay. So her last bit's about her activism. So on October 31st, the Chinese Communist Party declared its intention to roll out Jeepin 2.0 under the name Mingyun, which is the G6 thing, for all its territories and special economic zones, effectively replacing the previous dodgy health system thing. Amanqua Kraus responded by revealing the details of the mass data collection she and Cariappa had uncovered, condemning it as decades of encoded bias and systemic racism knowingly passed down to a new generation of AI. On November 1st, Zhu characterized the data collection as completely in accordance with Mingyun's biosecurity mission, which relies on an abundance of data for early detection and contact tracing efforts. He also warned Amanqua Kraus that any further divulging of proprietary information will be considered in breach for a non-disclosure agreement. Okay, so I'm slightly more dubious about Zhu now from this entire exchange, because this is dodgy as all hell. Very, very dodgy. In December, she announced she'd be taking a step back from public life after being diagnosed with a burnout. You mean a mental burnout? Yeah, burnout is typically characterized by feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, reduced professional efficacy, increased mental distance from one's job, or feelings of negativism. Yeah, so she basically, she burnt out from everything. Understandably. She continued to support various campaigns against the establishment of G6, occasionally accepted invitations for lectures and conferences. In March, 4 years later, she joined Nuance as a consultant on the request of Cariappa, though a public backlash forced her to step down in May. What's Nuance? Nuance is a technology company founded by epidemiologist and data scientist Sunil Cariappa, who now serves as its chief technology officer. Nuance's mission is to provide governments and corporations that are subscribed to G6 with additional network services in order to tailor G6's operating algorithms to the client's specific needs. Nuance currently has projects running in over 30 countries. Okay. So Chiropramuran was like, hey, join my company. And everyone else was like, nah, we don't want you to. But why? Because she came out about the other stuff? I don't get that. Don't understand that. Fair enough. Or was it public backlash? Or was it actually, like, company backlash, maybe? In May 2045, she was accused of having instigated a leak of sensitive information related to G6. She refuted the accusations and claimed she'd been contacted by a whistleblower inside Zhupao who had offered her the information, which he had forwarded to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists after it was verified. Sorry. When she refused to reveal the identity of the whistleblower to the Ministry of Public Security, Amanda Kraus became the target of harassment and death threats. Delightful. She was repeatedly accused of having acquired the information herself using the fabrication of an anonymous whistleblower for protection. In August, she left London City and returned to Ghana. Her exact whereabouts are currently unknown. In 2046, she became the subject of a conspiracy theory that identifies her as Adira, whose existence was encoded in the 2045 leak. She's repeatedly denied any knowledge of Adira. Okay. So, okay. That explains why she's run off to Ghana and not told anybody where she is. If people are sending her harassment and death threats. For possibly revealing the information or just passing on the information from the whistleblower about dodgy G6 stuff. I want to know what this leak of sensitive information is, though. If it's not the thing they found out years before, where they were using the really dodgily acquired dataset, it's obviously something new, and I'm intrigued about what that is. Okay, so that makes sense why she's gone. And people think she's Adira, which is the hacker that Zhu kept blaming for any issues with G6 or anything else. Interesting. I mean, she's computer savvy, so that is one suggestion, but I would be very surprised if she was Adira. Because that would be too easy. That would be too easy to shove it in my face like that. But I might be getting a bit paranoid there. Okay. That's really cool. I like it. Okay, that's all about her. Who is Adira? I know, I want to know. I assume they're going to play a bigger part of it later, maybe? Because they have been referenced a couple of times now. It's the question that drives us. Exactly. I mean, she certainly has, like, the tech know-how and computer knowledge and just general brains to do something like that. So, it's not completely out of character that she could do that. And it's shown in the article that she obtains the information through a back door, essentially. So, it's not out of the question, but there are other people who hack, so... Also, why is cheese? Why is cheese? Is that the question that drives you, Ambien? I'm sorry. I don't have the answer. Why is cheese? Question mark. Okay, we get a lot of information in this. I like it. We get more about the AI stuff that Zhupao was doing. We get more about Efwa, who was basically just kind of mentioned in Zhu's article as having left. So that answers some of my questions that I had. So that is cool. I like that article. Okay. What other articles have we got? I assume there are some more that have had changes. Pop out for now. Thanks for this great catch-up dive in Neurocracy. Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the Discord and get to debate you. That'd be awesome. Oh my god, no way! Oh, Axon, you didn't have to do that. Don't, I'll blush. I really appreciate you subscribing. That's so nice. You get to use the emotes now. Yay! I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. I know, that was so nice. Oh, one step closer to my 12-hour community stream. Hoo boy. See you later, Axon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Triple, for Crowd Rave. That is a Crowd Rave worthy moment. Yay! Good old Switch Prime. Or Prime Gaming, whatever it's called now. Oh, I'm all flustered now. Oh, give me a second. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, but I'm really not. Okay. Concentrate. There are changes to other articles, I'm sure there are. That one came out today, so there's no changes on that. Lasgard Biotechnic, what have you changed? What changes have you done today? Any of them? No. Okay, that's fine. Lasgard's still trash. That's completely fine and understandable. Oh, I pressed recent changes instead. That was silly. That page doesn't exist yet. Let's go Biotechnic. Yep, we got that. William Lasgard, you only got any changes? What are you doing? Page's under development. Yeah, it's okay. Sorry, you saw a bit of back end. Ignore that bit. As I have said before, obviously everything is work in progress. They're still working on it. Everything could change. Lasgard probably won't ever be a nice guy, but things could change, so. Alright, have you changed anything? Oh, okay. This has been added. So this is... The files is referring to the leaked files that the Mondial News had. Or does it? Dun dun dun! The files also indicated that starting in early 2038, Lasgard had used off-the-shelf search algorithms to look for any cases of illness linked to a high consumption of Lasgard tuna. When the algorithm returned a hit on YouTuber Yuki Hasegawa in September 2038, Lasgard arranged for company officials in Japan to doctor Hasegawa's medical and dietary records in order to minimize any connection to Lasgard tuna. 6 additional index cases were redacted before Hasegawa's death was connected to Lasgard tuna. Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, Lasgard knew there might be a problem with this disease, with people eating the fish that were diseased. Rather than dealing with it, he created an algorithm that would try and find illnesses that looked like they were linked to it, and doctor their records so it couldn't be linked to Lasgard. I swear to actual God. This man needs to be stopped. Petition to rename it to Lasgard Biotechnic. I love it. More jerkitude. I see what you meant by more jerkitude now. Yeah, that's pretty... Yeah. It made... Nice. Okay. Yuki Hasegawa. Born 2017, died 2038. They weren't that old then either. They were 21 years old. Is that... He killed a 21-year-old YouTuber with his dodgy-ass fish. And then decided to fake their... Lasgard! Piece of poo! I'm trying to restrain myself. Oh my god. They were a Japanese YouTuber who became the first human victim of Chiropramuran Disease. He contracted the disease from being contaminated Lasgard tuna during a live stream sponsored by Lasgard Biotechnic. They sponsored him to eat it! They're literally the only reason he's dead! I swear to God, Lasgard needs to be found and stopped. What a jerk face. Such a massive jerk. Okay. Alright, fine. I didn't think it could get any worse, but it did. He's so mean. Is Omnipedia changed at all? Omnipedia's the same. I'm just checking. Zhu's has changed because we learned that, right? That was the thingy. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we read that earlier, okay. Yes, they were saying they think it's a Dara, and the Russian guy got murdered as well. Is this strange? Have I already seen this? I don't even know what I've seen now. My brain is just bamboozled. Yep, that's fine. That's the same. I think that's it. I think that's all the articles then. I think I grabbed them. You said there were like 2 new articles, right? In your update you do? Pretty sure. Yeah, 2 new articles. And then there's obviously like some of the changes involved. I got them all! Oh my god, okay. Just want to make sure they all get out there. Okay. Changes included. Nice. Alright. That was an experience. Okay. I like where you've gone with this. I like the updates. Don't know how much that changes how much I hate Last Gun. It doesn't. It makes me hate him worse. Okay. I don't know how much my theories in general changed though from that one, which is interesting. In fact, let me get up. I have my a Google Doc somewhere. Good old Google. Yeah, so just to really quickly touch on like my theories for this. So when I first, in fact, hold on, let's I need to see my chat as well. In fact, I'll just check this on the screen. It doesn't matter to me too much if you see it. Doesn't really matter to me if you see my notes, because some of them are subject to change anyway. And it's all misspelled, so don't worry about it. Okay, so when I first read, I think it was the first 2 episodes of Neurocracy was when I joined it. I was very suspicious of Spencer Hagen, and I still am, because Spencer Hagen's the head of the company that basically invented Colloids. And Colloids are dodgy as all hell. So, you know. That just makes me think he's a dodgy person. I'm also concerned about the disappearance of Connie Muran, because she was working with Zhu Pao on making the diagnostic colloids, so she was involved in it, and then she disappeared in 2040, because everything happens in 2040, which is why I'm going to make a goddamn timeline at some point, when I have chance. But yeah, so Connie Muran disappeared. She was quite big on working on the colloids, because she was, like, she was the neuroscientist, I'm pretty sure. So she did a lot of stuff. I just wrote neurocarceral states are bad. Because they are. I guess I'll zoom in. I guess it doesn't really matter if you see. Oh. My notes are all subject to change anyway. It's just I have something on the screen so I can also see my chat. But yeah, so my rant in the Discord is here as well because I just copied it over. So I started with, I don't like Spencer Hagen because he's weird and dodgy and I'm not entirely sure about him. But yeah, the colloids are basically mind control tools, if you think about it, from what we've learned about them. Because you can read people's neural activity, and you can influence it, which is dodgy. Like, because there's the people who did the brainjacking and stuff. So, I'm very suspicious of Spencer Hagen. I'm a little bit less suspicious of him in the episodes that have come after, but I'm still not 100% okay with him, because he crops up a few times. So yeah, I want to learn more about Connie Muran. I assume we will at some point in the ensuing episodes. Because her disappearance is weird. Lots of people involved with the colloids and G6 have weird things happen to them. Like Connie Muran disappears. What's her name? The person who made the material that stops supposedly stops people getting the disease from colloids, died, and obviously F-word has hidden herself away somewhere after finding out information. Thonk. Yeah, it's Thonk time. Okay. That's it, Parisa, yeah. I have her name in here somewhere. But yeah, so there are a lot of things happen in 2040 that are confusing, especially around this G6 stuff. So, yeah, G6 gets announced. Then these, Hagen, Karrieppa, and Amanda Krauss are said to be leading the project. But Connie Muran's name isn't mentioned. You'd think an expert in medicine would be working on it. But she disappeared 2 months before this announcement, so she can't be. which doesn't make much sense. So I think that's something to note when you read it. And obviously F were leaving, but we've obviously found out supposedly the reason why she's left. But so that's still something to bear in mind, though. I was a lot more naive about Zhu when I read the first 2 episodes. I am a little bit more skeptical now after how he handled the when the logins for the health system got removed and they found out all this stuff about how F-Wa's AI were being used improperly and with weird data. His reaction to that whole thing was very, very suspect. So I'm a little bit suspicious of him. But I am also in something that I think might be important is the fact that we're told in Zhu Xiaoyong's article that he has a colloid. He implanted it on stage to prove to people that it was okay. So he is susceptible to the benefits and bad stuff that come with having colloids, including brainjacking and neurostimulation. So part of my initial theories involved Zhu basically being mind controlled with the use of the colloid that's in him, which is why I was suspicious of Spencer Hagen. Because Spencer Hagen made the colloids, or like was a pretty big part of them, so he knows how they work and he has access to them. And then the Chinese Communist Party is very suspect. And they were trying to do their own colloid thing. And they were at odds with Zhu, so I'm very suspicious of them, but I won't go too much into that. If you want to read my full thing, you can go into join the Neurocracy Discord and debate me. Please do it. So yeah, I think the fact he has a colloid might play a part in this, but that's just me. So that was one thing I picked up on when I first read into this. And then the other thing that I think is going to come into play is the fact that it's pointed out that there's the rising cases of the bad brain problem in countries that had G6. The bad brain problem being the thing that came out when the CCP were testing early versions of the colloids on people in concentration camps, like that thing that made you have like strokes and die, basically, which is a problem. And everyone's like, oh no, it couldn't possibly be because of, you know, Zhu and Zhu Pao's stuff, because they have that funky material that stops your capillaries getting blocked, so it couldn't possibly be because of that. But it's only in every single patient that has this problem that's a rising problem, they have a colloid or some kind of medical implant. So again, I'm suspicious about that and how it's going to come into play with everything. The fact that Parisa was the one who produced this material, and then she died at the age of 38, which is a very young age to die. Her little snippet that we got doesn't say how she died. But generally 38-year-olds don't just up and die. So I'm intrigued as to how she died. That's something I want to know at some point. Because I'm suspicious it's to do with my, you know, my tinfoil hat about the production of these colloids. So, yeah, there's something dodgy, and I want to know more about Parisa. I've already mentioned that Zhu's helicopter being attacked by a hacked PLA drone is pretty suspect. It doesn't help my opinion of the Chinese Communist Party, because they're already suspicious with the things that they're doing. And they could claim the drone was hacked because it's their spokesperson said it. They grabbed the drone. Nobody else is allowed to look at it. So who knows what's happening with that? Like, we genuinely don't know. That was slightly changed with the fact there was the Russian guy in the helicopter as well. I don't know anything about him apart from he's a Russian oligarch, or was. He's dead. And apparently Beijing didn't know he was there. He didn't tell anybody he was in the helicopter. So I'm intrigued whether he's accidental or on purpose. It might change this, because when I was writing this the first time, I was very suspicious of the Chinese Communist Party. So that's that bit. I wrote that Lasgard sounds like Elon Musk. Yeah, again, I'm still suspicious about Lasgard's assassination attempt on him, because come on, Colloid was apparently hacked to cause him excruciating pain and immobilize him, and then his house doors were locked, he had no water, and they raised the ambient temperature to 130 degrees. Who was going to survive that? Nobody. There's nothing you can do if you're immobilized by pain, so I still think he faked his own assassination. Because he was under a lot of crap, because rightly so, because he was a massive jerkface and started this pandemic. So I'm pretty sure he went into hiding with that. I don't know if he could be playing with stuff behind the scenes. I'm a little bit suspicious of him influencing events now, but I'm not sure how much he might be. So I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's disappeared involuntarily. So I'm intrigued to find out more about Lasgard, even if he's a massive jerk. Yeah, Muran, something you learn about Connie Muran is she was the chair of the outbreak control team that was dealing with Chiropramuran Disease. So one of the things I thought of is that Lasgard might have taken revenge. It's a little bit of an out there theory because there's not much evidence for it, but I was like, Lasgard would have motive to mess up Connie Muran because she was part of jeffing him over, basically. That was just a random thought I threw out there. Human maybe not. What if Lasgard is a robot? Oh no, he's the Terminator. Crap. What are we gonna do? This is literally exactly what I posted in the Discord, so ignore the other comments. So yeah, my Lasgard sounds like an Elon Musk character with less charisma. Is also how I was slating him when I was writing stuff. Yeah, again, like, my reasoning for thinking Lasgard might be behind some of the disappearances, murders, disappearances, is like Zhu and him had beef. They apparently made up. So it's not a concrete theory. It's not what I'm like 100% stood behind. But I can imagine them falling out again, since, you know, Zhu probably didn't know about the fish disease, and that would probably strain a friendship, if you think about it, or a business association. So, it's not a great theory, but it's there. I don't think we have enough information to figure out who assassinated him yet, but that was just, like, me putting that out there. So that was my theories. Yeah, I don't think they've changed that much from this. I like that we have more information about Chiropramuran Disease, and the other stuff. At least Lasgard doesn't look like a raw chicken. I mean, he's got that going for him. He still looks like a jerk face. Sorry, stock photo actor guy, but you look like a jerk. But yeah, like, there's so much information in this, which I appreciate. I like that we've got this random guy who's been thrown in. I wasn't expecting that. Whoever this Yuri is presumably going to be either important or a red herring. So I'm intrigued to know what happens with them. But yeah, I love this. I don't know if you've got that yet. I love this game. It's really good. If you've not noticed yet, like, there's no gameplay because I'm not shooting something or running around. I am investigator. I am immersed in, like, I'd argue it's an RPG just because I am making myself the role of a detective, and this game is not holding your hand. There is all these little details through all the different articles. It's not pointing them out to me. I have to go find it. Like, when I've been talking about it to my, to people, I did initially compare it to games like Orwell, which is a good game, but this feels a lot less hand-holdy and a lot more organic, and I really like that aspect of it, because I have to go and find the details. I have to go look for them and make notes and compare it to other people, and other people have different opinions and it's a real collaborative effort, which is really, really nice, which is something you won't get in a game like Orwell, because Orwell is obviously just you doing it yourself. Non-binary pride hearts, I love them. But it's really good. It's all in browser. It's the easiest thing to maneuver around ever. It's really goddamn cool. Exactly what we were going for. Yeah, it's great. Like, you did it. Well done. Have some NBs. Thanks, Ray, for the NBs. Yeah, like, you're immersed in this world. Literally, building your world. You did it. You built the world. It's 2049. It's a weird technological, like, dystopia almost. Not quite dystopian, but we're getting there. There's AI happening. There's disease happening. There's obviously the assassination, which is the main part, like, that we're trying to solve. But there's so many other things going on. And it just blows my mind. That somebody's going into Kickstarter. Hey, take it, it's fine. Whatever I can do to help. So yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to see where it goes as well. Because, as I have said a few times now, everything's a work in progress. It's all subject to change. I can't wait to see the audiovisual material. So you're all going to fund them on Kickstarter. When the Kickstarter is out. At the end of September. You're all going to fund it. So I can see where this goes and get my audiovisual material. God damn it. Need to see more of it. So, yeah, it's really cool. I love it so much. So yeah, join their Discord, because they will give you access, I'm pretty sure. They gave me access, so I don't know why anyone else won't get it. But yeah, you could join the Discord. Do it. With this cheeky command I set up. There you go. And some adequate emotes. I don't know, I thought they were cool. You need to follow them on the Discord. The Discord has their Twitter, but I'm pretty sure it's Neurocracy 2049. You need updates, you need to do the Kickstarter stuff when they have Kickstarter. You need to do it, because I need this game, damn it. I demand. I demand this game be finished, so do it, please. Because this is all, like... This is freely available. I've just been given access to this, and you can get access to this. Just to read all this stuff, and I have no idea how long this must have taken, but it's ridiculous. How much reading there is, like all the scientific stuff. It blows my mind. My mind is easily blown, but it blows it like squared, so it's quite a lot. We go to the moon, is that when we've jumped the shot? You can go to the moon. I would love you to go to the moon. Can we go to the moon? I demand they go to the moon. That would be great. Oh my god. So much talking. I did about as much talking in indie arena booth coverage. But my face isn't hurting yet, it's not been as long. We're cancelling the moon episode. Or are we? Oh no! No, I don't know what's happening, what's real anymore. But yeah, it's really cool and I really like the game, you might have noticed. I'll try to spam it a little bit less in my Discord now. Or will I? No promises on that. But yeah, I think that basically covers the coverage. If anybody wants me to go over anything or has any questions, the devs are here. You want to ask them anything? If you devs want to say anything in particular, now's the time to do it because they're here. But you can also talk to them if you join the Discord because that's where they hang out and they're really nice. So you should do that. Look, am I selling it? Is this how you sell things? I'm enjoying this moon-based content. Hell yeah, the moon. The moon is great. More moon-based content. But yeah, now is the time to ask them things, or in their Discord. If you think about it, any time is the time to ask them things, but it's fine. But yeah, I love this game so much. It's really good. I like story. If you've watched me for any amount of time, I love story-based things, and this is about story-based you can get because the whole thing is the story. You're reading the whole thing, and like conjugate in your head, and it's just really cool. So, it's pretty good, just saying. Hope I did it some justice. I'm pretty knackered after this week. Oh, it's been a busy week. For example, what's my favourite colour? It's murder. Well, there you go. There's something you found out about ambient impact. You did it all the justice. Okay, I hope so. Because you guys deserve so much more coverage than I've seen at the moment. Like, it's really good. I really like it. More people should be talking about it. Why aren't they talking about it? God damn it. Thank you for asking me to do this. I was really very flattered to be asked to stream this. So, I guess, again, final disclosure, they did ask me to do it if you hadn't got that already. I did say at the beginning, don't sue me. Full disclosure. I don't want to be sued. That's about to die. I'm going to tune out for now. Yeah, no worries. I'm just finishing up anyway, so I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much. I will see you guys in the Discord. Oh, God. You're the bestest. Oh, my God. I'm putting that on my profile now. That's an official quote. Thank you very much. Thank you. You guys are so nice. But yeah, I think that's basically... I don't think there's not much more I can say about the game. Apart from go play it. Go look at it yourself and debate me, cowards. It's basically all I can say now. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's hung out. Like, we've had quite a few people, and that was really nice. I know AAA Accent is gone, but I really appreciate the Prime sub. Everyone is so nice to me. I hope you learned something interesting out of that. I hope you saw some cool emotes, because we've had so many nice emotes. Thank you. And yeah, play the game. Join the Discord. Do it. I'm gonna be checking. You better all do it. There will be hex if you don't. But yeah, that was Neurocracy. I am so very hyped. I'll stop talking about it now. But yeah. Thank you, Triple. But yeah, if you've stopped by and don't know who I am or haven't seen me before, I'm Robin, believe it or not. I stream indie games 5 days a week. Next week's schedule is gonna be pretty good, I'd say. I'm gonna be playing Best Friend Forever again, which is a game where you pet dogs and date people, and it's great. I'm also gonna be trying to play Edge of Eternity, which is JRPG. I'm very excited. You know the drill with self-promo stuff I'm not very good at. Follow if you want. Follow me on Twitter for updates. I got a Discord as well. Don't have to join that, but Palpatine, do it. Yeah. But yeah, it's been really cool. I've had a really good time. And I hope to see some of you again, either in the Neurocracy Discord or on my stream, on my Discord, somewhere else. Yes. In fact, let me put my in-between screen notes on here. Woo! I'm over here now, apparently. I clicked the wrong one, but it's fine. Yeah, if you look at the bottom, 12-hour community party stream is our 25 sub goal. So, you could sub, but I would pressure you. Do you want to pay for this content? I don't know. But yeah, that'll be it for me. I'm gonna head off now and shut up. So thank you to everyone who's hung out. I hope to see you again soon. And yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I say bye-bye now. Bye-bye.